what I just told? Is it
Not
true or not?
really. I've had a
Really?
pretty good upbringing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if that's what you say, I mean, anybody could lie about that, right? As well. But
I'm lying about my own personal life.
hey, man, I could tell in your heart, bro. Like your heart posture, there's not genuine love in it. It's pure sarcasm, you know. And the Bible tells us that God is love, right? And let me tell you something that just came to me.
Sure.
You're thinking about suffering, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Even if, right, let's say it's just because of suffering. Oh, there's so much suffering in this world. There's so much pain. But isn't it that in order to elevate and even go through things and genuinely grow into anything, you have to go through certain pains, certain trials and tribulations? Is that true or not?
No, I don't think so. Not necessarily. But so that doesn't actually address my specific point, because my problem is not that suffering exists at all. My point is that unnecessary, excessive suffering exists. Things like the Holocaust, things like kids with cancer, these things are excessive and unnecessary.
The Holocaust.
People don't grow from, like, kids with cancer. People don't grow from the Holocaust. They get traumatized by it. These things are not the same.
Well, man, all I can say is because of sin is the main reason why cancer exists and all these things exist. But let me tell you
what
one
about
thing about the Holocaust.
then why did dinosaurs have cancer if cancer only began to exist
You
when
have
humans
proof? You have
existed?
proof about that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's a dinosaur bone that has cancer on it. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's interesting. I never knew
How
that.
would you explain that?
It's all sin, man. It's all a disease is sin.
Were
It's
the dinosaurs sinning? Were they big sinners? The
No,
dinosaurs?
the thing about it is that the flesh became filled with sin, and all of these, bro. It all comes down to the root. You have
You
to
have
understand.
no idea.
You have to understand this. Check this out, because you actually said something beautiful, and it's about the Holocaust.
Wait, he wants to pivot away from the dinosaur
Check this-
bone with cancer because you have no answer for it. Do you
that's
just
fine,
want
that's
to
fine.
acknowledge? Wait,
No, check play. This is
hold
gonna help
on,
you. It's
stop.
gonna collide. It's gonna
Stop
collide.
pivoting. Stop pivoting. Can you acknowledge
check this
before
out.
you pivot that you have no answer or no explanation for the dinosaur bone with cancer?
No. Actually,
We can pivot away. I'll let you
both.
off the hook. I
It
will let
combines
you
with
off the
both of
hook.
them. Hey, it
I'll
combines
let you
with
off the
both.
hook. I just want you to acknowledge that you don't know why
comes-
dinosaurs
no, no,
had
no.
cancer.
No, check this out. It combines the both. So I'm combining the reason why there's cancer,
You're pivoting.
why there's disease, and why the Holocaust even happened all at the same time. And I'm going to explain to you, it's the root of Satan. If you come to understand a lot of these diseases that people actually have, especially when it comes to unforgiveness, especially when it comes to certain things, bro, these are a lot of the times, believe it or not, man, cancer is the root of a demonic presence in there. All right?
Did the
I don't know if you
dinosaurs have
know
a
about
demonic
witchcraft.
presence in there?
It could most definitely have that, man. There's demons
Proof?
roaming all over this earth.
We got proof
have
that
to
the
study
dinosaurs had
demonology.
demonic
You
presence?
have to study demonology in order. You have to study demonology in order to understand, and witchcraft in order to understand how all of these diseases, how all of this chaos, how all of this darkness starts to manifest upon this earth.
Sure.
If
So
you don't-
how did
even
dinosaurs
when
with
it comes to the
cancer start
Holocaust,
to
right?
manifest?
Hitler, even if you don't know, Hitler used a lot of witchcraft. He tapped into a lot of supernatural things for him to gain such power. Same way that these Illuminati and
This
these
is
artists
disrespectful
tapped
to
in.
all the people who died in the Holocaust to say that, like, Hitler did magic.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because many times people have used demonology. Many times people have tapped into higher power beings.
Wait,
And
so do you
because of the-
think Hitler was down there saying like Avada Kedavra? Like, what are you talking about?
Bro, it goes deep. It's actually hard to explain, but bro, you have to understand that this is we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and heavenly places.
Yeah,
But
nice.
once you understand how the reality of witchcraft is, then you will understand as well how the reality of the Bible exists.
Do you think there was a lot of witchcraft going on at the time of the dinosaurs?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%, dude.
You think
1,000%.
Stegosaurus
Do you
was
know-
really
do you
into?
know- do you not know
Do you
that
think
the dinosaurs-
Stegosaurus was really into crystals?
Nah, check this out, bro. That's actually funny that you say that. What I'm trying to say is this. At that time, we were already, even humans at the time of the dinosaurs, 9 times out of 10, the fallen angels, like Azazel, were teaching us how to do certain things that we were forbidden to do. I don't know if you've ever read the book of Enoch, but if you read the book of Enoch, it'll give you a lot
Where
of
was the
understanding.
witchcraft at the time of the dinosaurs? Where was it?
It came from the fallen ones.
Who
Do
were
you know who the fallen ones are? The
Is
fallen
it-
angels?
Oh, wait, but
You
I
never
thought
heard
the fall of the angels happened right around Adam and Eve's time.
Uh, isn't that the very beginning? And isn't dinosaurs at the very beginning of time?
Not really, no.
Then
I
when
mean,
was
so dinosaurs come before us by I think 80 million years, something like that.
and how long have we existed for?
Are you asking like how long has the universe existed?
No.
200,000? Full amount of time, yeah.
Right. You don't. Do you think that perhaps dinosaur bones could have been like the giants that the Bible talks about with the Nephilim?
I just have no reason to believe that.
You have no reason to believe that,
Yeah, I have no reason to believe that.
but you don't think it could be a possibility.
So we know what happened to the dinosaurs. They got wiped out with an asteroid, and then the smaller ones evolved over time into, I think, chickens. So no, we have no reason to believe this.
Okay. I guess if you don't believe that, I personally believe
Well,
it
we
could
just,
be.
we just have no
possible.
reason to, is the point.
Yeah.
Well,
bro,
can you give me like a reason to believe that the dinosaurs were actually just giants?
I mean, bro, they're like the biggest thing. They're the biggest bones that we've ever discovered. I mean, you don't think they could be Nephilim? Like, that's what do you mean?
I think you'd be throwing out the entire field of paleontology. I guess I think if I'm gonna throw out an entire scientific discipline, I probably want like pretty good evidence.
All right, look, bro. Basically, look, bro. I come from a background in which, like, I understand that you have your whole knowledge and your own theory and stuff like that, and I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, the
I understand.
theory
But
being
from my
science, yeah.
testimony, the reason why I know God is real is because of my testimony.
Okay.
Right,
What about all
because-
the people who have testimonies of Allah or Vishnu?
All right, excellent, cool. Hey, that's on them. You know what I mean? That's their personal life. That's their personal journey. Maybe perhaps Christ has not revealed themselves to them, and they have their own testimony, which is okay. Christ has revealed himself to me in dreams. Christ has revealed himself to me through his spirit, his Holy Spirit. Man, I used to be tormented by a lot of demons, man, and by the power of Jesus Christ, I've been delivered, bro. And this is just the truth. And if you got, bro, witchcraft is very real, man. And if witchcraft is real, then the Bible has to be real because there's two powers,
That doesn't follow.
one God. Two powers, one God, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I
Okay.
gotta say.
Well, I mean, if we
know.
don't have any scientific evidence, then I'm not really sure what else to talk about.
I mean, God is science. Let's be honest.
I don't think that's true.
Okay. Well, he's the creator.
In
of
what
all
sense is God science?
He's the creator of all things. Is he not sovereign? He's sovereign. If you believe
Well,
in
I
God,
don't think that he's real.
I mean, that's
So it's
fine.
kind of like a weird question to
I'll
ask.
tell you
Like,
one
is,
thing.
is
I'll tell you one
God
thing.
sovereign? Like maybe by your Lord,
I'll
he's
tell you one
sovereign.
thing. Have you ever heard of near death experiences before? Have you ever done
Yeah,
your
I
research
have.
on
Have I?
near death experiences?
Did you ask if I've ever had a near-death experience?
No, I'm asking generally. Have you ever studied near death experiences?
Yeah. So typically, what's happening is that your brain is completely pumped full of chemicals. So yeah, like weird shit's gonna happen when your brain is flooded with endorphins.
So you're telling me that people leaving their body, right? Well, I mean, have you ever done DMT in your life before?
I'm not gonna answer this.
I have.
Cool.
Okay, and because
Wait, I gotta move on to
understand-
the next one because you said the name of something you shouldn't have. But on to the next one. All right, if you're in that guest request box, make sure that you are 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you got an argument which does not involve personal experience.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Thank you for selecting me.
Yep. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Yep. And what religion?
I guess you could say pagan.
So, like, Zeus?
Zeus, Thor, Hercules, Marduk,
Gotcha.
all the same deity. Do you have a specific deity?
No.
You're atheist or Satanist?
I'm atheist.
Are you Jewish?
No.
Did you know that you have a very Jewish or like possibly Greek appearance?
That would be weird because I'm Irish and German.
Irish and German could make sense. I'm also partially Irish.
Okay, I'm moving on to the next one. I like it when my guests are emitting fewer Nazi particles. Oops, sorry. I'm just doing a solo stream. I apologize. Damn, I don't know. They do like the shuffle roulette. No, I'm sorry. I'm just doing solo. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Mike?
Hi.
Hey, how old are you?
18.
That's Cap. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
How old are you?
I'm 19.
That's Cap. You gotta be 18 or older. Come on. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, doing all that good stuff. I'm just dipping my toe in. Returning briefly. I might do a longer stream tomorrow. We'll see how things play out. Depends.
I'm right here.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good. Hello?
How old are you?
Hello?
Hello? Okay. Gosh, I love it. Wow. Alright, I accept your surrender. Get him on out of here. Get him out of here. What's up? How's it going?
What's good?
Hey, how old are you?
I'm 22.
And what religion?
Yeah, Christian, we've discussed before.
Gotcha. So, what's your strongest argument for the existence of God?
Well, a previous discussion I had with you, I asked you why contingent things exist. Didn't really get an answer to that. But we have to really define God, for example. I mean,
We gotta define God?
yeah, what would you define God as?
So when I say God isn't real, like the minimum claim that I'm referring to is a necessary being who is an immaterial mind that is the cause of everything.
Yeah, why isn't that real?
So the reason why this isn't real is because time can't be created.
How does that follow to your conclusion?
Yeah, so if something exists, we agree that time exists. God, by his definition, would need to be the cause of everything.
What
But
is
if time can't be caused, then God is not the cause of it, which
what
means
is
that we would
time?
have a problem.
What is time?
I take time to just be the sequence of events.
So a measurement of change, basically.
Not really. The sequence of events.
Yeah, so does time measure change?
Does it measure change? There's lots of measures of change. Time is a measure of change.
So yeah, time is a measurement of change then. So
But it's not the measurement of change, right? There's plenty of
Same
measurements of change.
I said it's a measurement of change.
Oh, I mean, if you want to say
Does
that, then
anyone
sure. Yeah.
disagree? Yeah, cool. So you've agreed time is a measurement of change, and you're
Yeah.
saying because time isn't created, therefore God doesn't exist.
Because time cannot be created, but it exists, that means that God cannot be the cause of everything.
Well, what if someone holds to like sort of maybe a Platonic view of forms and just holds to the fact that time is just a measurement, as a measurement of change, is some sort of form that partakes in God's essence, so let's say.
Well, that would be nonsensical because time is a physical phenomena. It's not like a Platonic form.
So you can touch time?
It's a phenomena that we experience. It's one of the dimensions.
Yeah, can you touch time?
We exist within time.
I asked you, can you touch time?
No, we exist within
Yeah,
time.
so
It's one of the
time is
dimensions.
so time is abstract, so it'd be a form.
No, it's certainly not abstract. Time is a part of
But it's-
physical reality. It's not an
You just
abstract
said if-
object.
So if time is part of physical reality, why can't we touch time? Because you said we can't touch it, right?
It's a dimension that we exist in.
That's space.
And time. We exist in space-time. But if you believe in Platonic forms, then that causes a bigger problem for God, because Platonic forms, by their very definition, are uncaused. So God can't be the cause of everything because there's this entire category of stuff, abstract objects that are completely uncaused.
Yeah, there'll be forms that partake in the good, so I don't see how that would be a problem.
So is God the cause of, I don't know, like the number one, for example?
Well, we wouldn't say that forms are caused, so that wouldn't be going against the Platonic view of forms.
Sure. So then God's not the cause of everything.
Forms partake in God's essence, and the point is that we wouldn't say God is the cause of everything because God isn't the cause of himself. So who here said God is the cause of everything?
So the cause of everything other than himself.
Yeah, so as we said, forms would be partaking in the good. So
And I'm so sorry. Is God the cause of everything but himself?
so is God the cause of everything by himself?
Yeah.
You could say that.
Sure. So then we have a contradiction. So God is the cause of everything but himself, and then we have all these Platonic forms that God didn't cause. So God's the cause of everything else, and also there are some things that God didn't cause, so we have a contradiction.
Not really, because
Which of those do you disagree with?
in order for something to be caused, it has to depend. It has to be contingent, and forms wouldn't be contingent. So
Wait. This isn't your argument. This is my argument, right? That God's not the cause of everything, because there's certain things that God didn't cause.
yeah. So what do you define a thing as?
You want me to define a thing?
Yeah, because are you trying to say that the form of a thing is the thing itself?
I don't know what that means, but yeah, I guess I just don't know what that means.
So if I think of you, is that identical to the you that we see in front of us?
Your idea of me is not the same as me. I would probably
Yeah, so
differentiate
an
that, but
idea
I'm
of
not really
something-
sure. I'm not really sure what the relevance of that is.
Well,
Wait, and I'm so sorry because I'm not going to let you get away from this. There's been a
Get away-
contradiction.
get away
I want
from
you to
what?
reject one or the other. Is
away
God the
from what?
cause of everything but himself?
You didn't define
Or
what-
are
you
there
didn't
some
define the
things
thing.
that God is not the cause of? Which one is
You
true?
You didn't define what a thing was.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Which one is it? Which premise do you reject?
Can you define thing?
Do you want me to read like the Google definition to you of thing? You don't know what thing means?
What do you take it to be? That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, just an object.
Yeah, what's an object?
Do you think asking me to define each term is gonna make you look good faith?
Like, what's an object?
I'm probably just gonna say that an object is brute. If you don't understand what an object is, there's probably no
I'm just trying
entryway
to
into
get you-
language for
I'm just
you.
trying to make sure you understand what you're saying. So, what is an object?
That's
We
cool.
would
Wait,
say
so which of the
form
two
of a
premises do you reject, though? Because there's been like lots of obfuscation, but I just want to know which of the two premises you reject. So do you reject one, that God is the cause of everything other than himself, or do you reject two, that there are some things, namely the Platonic forms, that are uncaused? Which one do you reject?
Yeah, I wouldn't hold to the fact that forms of a thing are the thing itself. So,
And I'm sorry, which of those two options was that one?
you've made the error.
Which of the two things was that? So I give you two. So
Yeah,
the contradiction
so
is
I
very
wouldn't
direct.
agree- I wouldn't
Which
agree
one of
with-
these two things do you reject?
I would reject the second premise because I don't.
So you would reject that there are some things that God is not the cause of?
I would say that that premise doesn't follow because you've made an error, which I can tell you if you like.
And I'm so sorry. What is presupposed in the question?
You're presupposing that the form of a thing is the thing itself, which it isn't.
Do the forms exist?
Yeah, a form of
Is
a thing is
God the cause of the forms?
Forms aren't caused.
So God is not. If forms are not caused, then you agree that God did not cause them.
Yeah, they partake in.
So
exactly.
the forms
They partake
exist,
in
but God did not cause them. Is that correct?
Yeah, forms exist.
So there exist certain things that God did not cause. Is that correct?
Yeah, a form of a thing isn't
Perfect. So you actually don't disagree with the second premise. You accept it.
the form of the thing isn't the thing itself. That's the problem.
That's not relevant. You agree
That's
that there are
that's
certain
very relevant
things.
because
You agree
you said
that
that
you
you said
agree
that.
that there are certain things that God did not cause.
Yeah, the form of the thing isn't the thing itself though, so that's where the problem is.
So, okay, do you recognize the contradiction?
Nope.
So which premise do you reject? Do you reject the P or the not P?
I just told you because you've made an error.
You keep on saying like the form is not the thing itself, as if I'm gonna start like evaporating.
You like the problem with your.
It's an internal critique.
What's an internal critique
This is an internal critique.
of? Are you saying? Of
Yeah,
my
there is a
worldview?
contradiction in your view.
Yeah, there's not.
Saying you've made an
Why?
error just doesn't help you.
I'm not just saying you made an error. I'm literally explaining what the error was.
Okay, wait. So I'll try to make this even more explicit just for you. All right. So, the first premise.
I know what you're saying, but I'm telling you why I don't
conclusion
agree.
is there are some things that God is not the cause of. Platonic premise 1: Platonic forms exist. Premise 2: if Platonic forms exist, then there is no cause of them. Premise 3: if there is no cause of the Platonic forms, then God did not cause them. The conclusion to that is God did not cause the Platonic forms. Okay, cool. So I'll just give you the three premises. You tell me which one you reject. Premise 1: Platonic forms exist. Premise 2: if Platonic forms exist, then there is no cause of them. Or premise 3: if there is no cause of the Platonic forms, then God did not cause them.
Yeah, how does this lead to a contradiction?
It leads to the conclusion that God did not cause the Platonic forms.
Yeah, so what is a Platonic form?
A Platonic form typically is taken to be a thing that is outside of space and time, that is not caused, that is embodied by other things. But that's not relevant.
Yeah,
quizzing me on my philosophy knowledge isn't relevant.
I don't think
Wait, and I'm so sorry. Which premise of this argument do you reject?
Well, if you're defining form that way, I don't know if I agree with you.
Sure, I'm sorry. And so how would you define
assuming a
it?
definition of the term which
How would you define it then? Go ahead.
Yeah, abstract idea that partakes in the form of the good, which is the transcendent form. But
But so which of these premises do you reject?
well, the thing is that you're presupposing something that's incorrect.
Which of these premises do you reject?
You're presupposing something.
What's the
incorrect.
presupposition? Wait. So in which premise specifically am I presupposing?
You're presupposing a false definition.
Which
of form.
wait. Which premise am I falsely presupposing something?
I just told you the problem with
We
your
can
silly-
we can use your definition. We can just use your definition.
If
That's
you
totally
use my
fine.
definition, then a form of a thing isn't the thing.
Yeah, that's
itself.
totally fine. Yeah, we can use all of this. So which
All
premise do you
all
reject?
I really was doing was giving you.
It's an internal critique, so we can just go with your worldview. All of your definitions are totally fine. The argument works exactly the same. So which premise do you reject? Is it going to be 1, 2, or 3?
How is there an inconsistency?
Is it going to be 1, 2, or 3? Which premise?
Yeah, I've literally told you there wouldn't be any contradiction.
Do you reject premise 1, 2, or 3?
Sorry?
Do you reject premise 1, 2, or 3?
You said you're granting my worldview. So
Do you reject premise 1, 2, or 3?
Reject the whole thing. You've literally granted.
Let's get 1, 2, or 3. Is it premise 1, 2, or 3?
You can repeat them if you like, though.
Did you not listen to them?
Well, you've been blabbering, so some of it I might have forgotten.
Gotcha. Yeah, you didn't listen the first time. Let's try to listen this time. Premise 1: Platonic forms exist. Premise 2: if Platonic forms exist, then there is no cause of them. Premise 3: if there is no cause of Platonic forms, then God did not cause them. Conclusion: God did not cause the Platonic forms.
Okay. What's the problem?
So you accept the conclusion that God did not cause the Platonic forms?
if you're granting my definitions of forms and you're giving that syllogism, what's the issue?
Then there is
Like, we
something
wouldn't say that
God
Platonic forms are
did
caused.
not cause. If God is the cause of all things, then
But now,
there
look what
is
you're doing again.
not something
I
that
didn't agree
God
that a
did
form
not
of a thing
cause.
is a thing itself.
So, okay, do you agree that if God did not cause the Platonic forms, then there is something that God did not cause?
No.
So, God
Like, this
caused
is
the
why you have
things
to
that he
listen to
didn't
people.
cause?
Because, like I've said,
Wait,
God
and I'm so
has to-
sorry.
Are you
So,
gonna let me explain to you or
So
not?
God caused the things that God did not cause.
Forms, by definition, and what they by virtue of what we would call a form, it's not a it's not caused.
Yeah, no, I agree. So then you would agree with my point that if God did not cause the Platonic forms, then there is something that God did not cause.
No, because the point
So
is.
wait,
that
and I'm
the
so
point
sorry.
is-
So the
point
negation
is-
of this is that God did cause the Platonic forms,
doesn't
and
have-
there is or that God did not cause the Platonic forms, but there is nothing that God did not cause.
The problem is that I've literally explained this to you. The form of the thing is not the thing itself, since the forms partake in God's
None of this is
essence.
relevant.
It is relevant, and you won't
It's
let me
not.
explain. Will you let me explain?
Do the Platonic forms exist?
Forms exist, yeah.
So the Platonic forms exist, but God is not the cause
forms
of
are not
them.
distinct
So
things
there
from
exists
God.
something that God is not the cause
You're
of.
presupposing that forms are distinct things.
I'm
from
not
God.
presupposing anything.
Forms partake
There are
in God's
things that exist that God did not cause.
Well, that's
So God is not the
false.
cause of everything.
So
It's
when you
very
say-
simple.
When you say, look, this is the problem because you don't define your words properly. When you use the word
It's an
thing-
internal critique. We can use your definition.
Yeah, so if you're internally critiquing and you're granting my definitions of the words, then according to like my worldview, a form is not a distinct thing from God. So your whole point doesn't follow and it doesn't really take
Do you
effect.
believe in divine simplicity?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So is the number 1 the same as the number 2?
Well, this just like number one and number
Is the
two,
number 1 the same thing as the number 2? Yes or no?
they're not the same number.
Yeah. Oh, so then God is parts. So you reject divine simplicity.
No, because if you knew anything about divine simplicity, you would know that God doesn't have propositional knowledge. What you've said has presupposed God has propositional
God doesn't have
knowledge.
propositional knowledge?
Yeah. What
So
you
wait, does
said-
God wait. So does God know that 1 + 1 = 2?
Yeah, but we wouldn't say propositionally.
Do you acknowledge that 1 + 1 = 2 is a proposition?
Yeah, we wouldn't. You can say it in a propositional form. However, the thing is, because we hold to ADS, we wouldn't hold to the fact that there's real distinction in God's knowledge. So when you make that claim, you're making a claim, and you're trying to say, "Oh, God has parts," because there's a real distinction between the propositions in His mind. But this doesn't even align with our worldview. So you said you're internally critiquing. So you
Does
have to
God
grant
know the
worldview.
proposition 1 + 1 = 2 or not?
Yeah, not propositionally though. You're trying
do you
to
mean, not
imply,
propositionally?
You're trying to imply that it's propositional.
What do you take a proposition to be?
A proposition is, of course, a true or false statement which can be expressed declaratively, let's say.
So is 1 + 1 = 2 a true or false statement that can be expressed declaratively?
Yeah.
So it's a proposition.
Okay, what's your point?
So God doesn't know any propositions. 1 + 1
No,
= 2
I
is a
said
proposition.
God
Does
doesn't
God know
have-
that 1 + 1 = 2?
I've said God doesn't have propositional knowledge. He would know 1 + 1 is 2, but he wouldn't know it in a way that there's a real distinction in his knowledge and would conclude in him having parts. So that point doesn't go through.
Well, so first of all, that's not even the argument that I'm making. Just
Yes,
that.
it is.
Oh, that's not. I haven't made any claims about
That
God's
was the-
knowledge,
that
but I
was
do
the
think it's
argument
very
you made.
funny that you're saying that
Because
God
you
doesn't have
said there's one
propositional
plus-
knowledge
you said
of
there's
1
one
+
and
1
two
= 2. So God doesn't have
That was the
propositional
point he was
knowledge
making.
of 1
That was
plus
the
1
mo-
equals 2.
That was the point he was making
That's-
because you one sec.
I can just
you
explain to you
literally
the
said-
point that
Wait,
I'm
one
making.
second.
Do you want to
said
know
it's
the
one-
point that I'm making?
Can you let me finish, please?
Sure.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So the point is, you made the point is 1 and 2 the same number, and I was like, no, and then you said, oh, therefore God has parts, trying to presuppose that God has propositional
So
knowledge, which he doesn't.
is God identical to each form?
Sorry,
Is God identical to each form?
a form partakes in God's essence.
But is God identical to each form?
What does that mean?
Is God the same thing as the form? Any form?
Okay, so when we talk about a thing is what
It's a
is
yes or
record.
no.
We have to establish what the term is.
It's a yes or no.
Yeah, you have to really clarify.
I don't think
What does it mean?
I think which term are you getting caught up on?
Because you use thing in a different way, and then you say that you're granting my definitions, then you don't, and then you go.
Sure.
back-
So how would you like to define thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, so a thing is what is recognized by a system of ontology. So the point is that the forms partake in God's essence. So, of course, the form of the good is the transcendent form, which we would say.
Wait.
is
So
God.
there was. So if there were no minds, then there wouldn't be anything.
If there were no minds, that's in like what are you talking
If
about?
so if there were no minds, then there wouldn't be anything. If minds didn't exist, then nothing would exist.
If you could say that, if there was no mind that existed, then nothing would exist because God needs to cause everything.
What's the argument for that?
Well, we could argue how we couldn't have an infinite regression without a starting point, but because it would just beg the question to why contingent things exist, which you never answered the last time we talked about it.
Wait, and I'm so sorry. So one, why does the starting point need to be God? And two, why couldn't we have an infinite regress?
Yeah, so we defined God as a necessary being, basically, and
Sure.
the point is that we can't explain why contingent things exist.
Well, under your
without
view,
a
there wouldn't be
necessary starting
contingent
point.
things. So let's take the very first action that God did.
Can
So
you interrupt the
our
question,
starting
the
state.
argument?
So our starting state, we have just God existing alone. Necessarily, God exists alone. Then we have like the very first thing that God does. Is it necessary that God would do this very first thing?
What do you mean, very first thing that God does?
So do you acknowledge that there's like a sequence of actions that God took?
No, God acts eternally. He doesn't act temporally. So
There's
that's
no
not-
sequence?
Well, that's not what my worldview says. So you said you're internally critiquing. That's not what my
I'm just
worldview
asking you.
says. Yeah,
Is
and
there
I've
a
just told
sequence
you.
to God's actions?
No, God acts eternally.
So God created the earth at the same time he created the universe?
Yeah, so
So then God exists in
There's a-
time.
yeah, sorry?
So then God exists in time.
Wait, can you repeat your point again, please? Sorry.
Yeah, did God create the earth at the same time, or let's do another one. Did God create humans at the same time he created the earth?
Well, I don't think humans came into existence at the same time the earth did. But
So which one did God create first, the earth or humans?
you can say, of course, the earth was probably created before humans, yeah.
So then there's a sequence to the things that God does.
No, because this is the point. When, like, so even you was talking about divine simplicity, and what is entailed from divine simplicity is that God is identical to his act. We don't say that there's distinct acts that God does. So you're trying to imply something that's not in my worldview, as if God does one act here and one act there. God acts eternally.
So
none of-
God's actions are all the same? So
God is
I just
identical.
want to clarify. So
God
the
is
creation of the
identical.
earth was the same action as the creation of humans?
Yeah, so God's quote-unquote act of creation doesn't designate the act itself, it designates the effect. So saying God's acting of creation doesn't mean that God has distinct acts. Do you understand?
Not at all. No, that doesn't make any sense. Wait, so
Yes,
did
when
God
we-
did
I'll
God
make it
act to
simple.
create like the alligator,
I'll
and
make
did he
it more
also act
simple
to
for you.
create humans?
I think what you believe or what you've misinterpreted is that God's action of creation and God's action, quote unquote, are distinct actions. But the point is, God's action of quote unquote creation is not an attribute. God's act of creation designates the effects and not the act itself.
Is creation an act?
Creation designates the effect of an act.
Go ahead and define act for us.
Act would be something that can be done for a goal or an end, let's say.
Something done for a goal or an end?
Mm-hmm.
So if I like swing my arms around to no goal or no end, then I haven't taken an action?
What are you talking about?
So if I like swung my arms around randomly to no end, to no goal, you wouldn't classify that as an action?
Why would that doesn't make sense? If you're swinging your arm, you clearly would be doing that for a reason.
Not necessarily. I could be doing it for no reason.
Yeah, if you can prove that things happen for no reason.
Well, you can do something for no reason, for like no end.
Yeah, can you prove that?
Sure. Yeah, like literally all the time people do things for no
Yes,
end.
yeah, you're
For
being
there's they do things for like no reason.
Yeah, that's just circular. You're
You
just
wait,
saying
so you're
people
telling me
you're using
you're
circular
telling me
reasoning.
that there's
You're using
you've
circular
never
reasoning.
done anything for no reason?
Look, bro, I asked you to prove your point. You said
Wait,
because
and I just want to be,
people
because I don't
reasons.
know who you think.
What you've
I just don't
done
know why
is
you're
that
like
you're
lying to the
certain, like, you
audience.
can't
Like
prove
everyone
that people do
knows,
things for
everyone
no
knows from their own
reason, so-
personal experience that people
Ian, you're
have
just
done
talking.
things.
Look, bro.
Wait, and I get that you're panicked, but like hold on.
I'm not panicking. You're
You
just talking
are.
over
That's
me.
why you refuse to let me finish. So the basic fact of the matter, everyone knows this from their personal experience, is that people do things for no goal or no
You need to
reason
prove. You're yet
all
to
the
prove
time.
that. You're yet to prove that.
Yeah, so when you do something like subconsciously, you aren't doing this with like a conscious goal in mind.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that there's no reason you did it. So,
But you're saying specifically a goal.
but you said that an act can be done for no reason. I asked you why. You said because it basically can be done for no reason. There's people that do it for no reason. That's circular.
Just everyone
Doesn't prove
all the
the
time
point.
in their life does
Yeah,
things
cool.
for
So
no
you
reason
didn't-
at some
so
point.
you didn't prove that.
That people
So we
do
don't-
things with no
You
goal.
didn't prove that, so we can get back on topic, my friend.
Wait, and I understand why you want to pivot away from this. It's because your point is like on face
You're not
absurd.
going to prove it. You're not going to prove
Everyone knows this just from their personal experience that people do things without a
it. Yeah,
goal in
you're
mind
still
all the
assuming
time.
that things are done for no reason.
Yeah, so I'll just wait. So
reason.
do you acknowledge that like God doesn't exist if it's true that sometimes people do things for no reason?
That's irrelevant, bro.
Wait, no, it's exactly relevant. Wait, we can move
It's
off
not
this
relevant.
point. We can move off this point,
Don't ask
but I just want you to
questions until
concede that
you
God
prove the
doesn't
point.
exist. Wait, and you won't concede this because you know it's obviously true.
It's obviously not true exactly.
Wait,
So-
oh, I said it's obviously
the
true.
point
Get your
is
hearing
that,
checked.
cool. Yeah, cool, that's fine, but the point is...
So do you acknowledge, can you just say to the audience right now that if the members of the audience have ever done something without a goal in mind, that necessarily God doesn't exist? Would you be willing to make that statement?
You need to prove that things can be done for no reason.
Well, I'm just asking
You
you.
can't get away
I'm just
from it.
asking you. So, well, I mean, first of all, there are like events that happen for
I
no
need
reason.
you to prove your point, please.
Yeah, there are things that happen for no reason. For example, whether an electron is an upspin or a
Yeah, we're
downspin.
asking you to prove that. You're answering the question with the conclusion. You can't do that.
Wait, sorry, what's the conclusion and how am I answering the
The
question with it?
conclusion is that things, of course, can happen for no reason, and you're saying that we see things happen for no reason.
Yeah, I'll cite whether an individual.
Can you stop?
Wait, do you remember what example I just gave you, or were you not listening? Do you remember what example I just gave you, or were you not
The
listening?
arms waving stuff.
No, I gave you the example of an electron upspin or downspin for an individual electron.
Okay, what's your point?
That whether an electron has an upspin or a downspin is uncaused. There's no reason.
Sorry?
Whether an electron has an upspin or a downspin is uncaused. There's no reason.
What's your point here?
You literally just said, you asked me for an example of things that happen for no reason. I gave you one.
Yeah, can you prove that happens for no reason?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just going to be like the dominant interpretation, the Copenhagen interpretation, holds that these events are fundamentally chancy.
So because someone thinks it doesn't happen for a reason, then it doesn't?
Sorry, wait, so you think you know better about quantum mechanics than all of the quantum physicists?
I'm just asking you. Like,
So I think the alternative leads to the absurd
because
conclusion that like
you're
the
giving
physicists
it-
are just
you're-
over there
you're
jerking
saying-
their
you're
gherkin.
saying- You're saying something and you're claiming that this happens for no reason, but I've not seen any proof, and you've just said, oh, well, people think this. Just because people think something doesn't mean that it's true. So you telling me people think...
Sorry, what
won't
interpretation
prove
of
your point.
quantum mechanics do you hold to?
I'm not really too versed on that.
Yeah, and we can all tell, right? But in every single interpretation of quantum mechanics, there's something fundamentally chancy. So even in the ones that hold that it's deterministic, like the many worlds theory, they would still hold that whether you're in one world versus another is itself fundamentally uncaused, like unreasoned.
So you're saying because the quantum physicists, quote unquote, believe that it's uncaused, therefore it's uncaused?
No, just that every single interpretation of quantum mechanics entails uncertainty. That there are uncaused things in every single interpretation of quantum mechanics.
Yeah, well, the only uncaused thing is God. That's what it is.
Critique of quantum mechanics? What's your disproof of quantum mechanics? Go for it.
Yeah, I didn't come here to talk about quantum mechanics. I came here to
You
talk
asked me
about-
for an example, I gave you one.
Yeah, and you've not really given proof.
Do you want proof that quantum mechanics involves indeterminacy?
No, I want you to prove that there's a thing that happens for no reason and how that makes sense. Because you're yet to prove that things can happen for no reason.
Yeah, do you want like a paper on it?
Sorry?
Do you want like a paper on it?
That's going to say that things happen for no reason with proof?
Yeah, it's going to say that there are events that are fundamentally chancy, yeah.
What does fundamentally chancy mean?
It means that there are things that happen for no deterministic reason.
What does that mean?
That there's not a like prior cause for specific events.
There's not a prior cause for specific events.
Yeah.
Well, how can an event be uncaused?
You're just gonna have to go and ask the quantum mechanic.
Well, if you're if you're making the claim
quantum physicists, I guess.
you're making a claim that things can be like events can happen without a cause, you need to prove that.
Well, I can just cite you a source, and then you can take it up with the source. So I'll cite the
So
University
you're not
of
going to
Hawaii.
explain it?
Well, I'm happy to explain it to you. Do you want the explanation, or do you want the source?
Yeah, if you can explain the proof that something can happen for no reason, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So the source for this is going to be the University of Hawaii at Hilo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. The page is titled "Notes on Quantum Indeterminacy." What is fundamental to quantum mechanics is that there are certain events that are uncaused. Specifically, there is a 50-50 distribution for electrons having upspins or downspins, but whether or not an individual electron has an upspin or a downspin is uncaused.
Yeah, proof?
I just cited you the source.
Yeah, what's the proof of what they're saying?
The source that I just sent to you.
Yeah, so how do we know that what they're saying is right and there's proof that things can happen without a cause?
Because these events are fundamentally chancy. There is nothing that precedes them.
Yeah, you're just going into...
So the reason why we know this...
You're saying that...
The reason why we know this is because we can do an experiment identically and have two completely different results. That you can charge like a specific metal, and then, gosh, it's been so long since I heard Blitz explain it, but you can charge a certain metal, and then I believe you can like activate specific like magnetism in either direction, and then whether it has an upspin or a downspin is completely random, and 50% of them go up, 50% of them go down.
So what do you have to do again for it to get a upspin or downspin?
It's uncaused.
Well, you said that from your explanation, I thought something was done for an upspin or downspin. No, or was that wrong?
That's not what I said.
Yeah, what are you trying to say? Because I don't get.
I'm telling you that the event is uncaused because you can do the exact same experiment and get two different results. So what causes
How
one
does it
result as
follow? So
opposed
you're
to the
saying
other
that the
is
event-
nothing. There is
So
nothing
you're
that
saying
causes
that
one result as
an
opposed to
effect
the other.
Are you trying to say an effect is uncaused because you can get two different results?
That why you have one specific...
Does that follow?
Yeah, so the reason why it follows is just because you're doing the exact same experiment but getting two different results, but there's no cause why it would be one result as opposed to the other. So the event is uncaused.
Wait, 1 second. That doesn't mean that.
So then what causes one to go up and one to go down? What's the cause of that?
Well, it would be the act coming before it.
It's the same act coming before it. That's the problem.
Yeah, wait. So what you did here was actually you didn't cite a source properly because you tried to say that this source proves that an effect can happen without a cause. But when we actually look at the experiment, there was something done and there was two different outcomes.
Nobody's going to fall for it. You're clearly not engaging.
Wait, can I finish?
It's the exact same experiment and it has two opposite actions. So wait, what causes it to go up as opposed to down? What's the cause of that?
Sorry?
What causes the charged bar to go up as opposed to down? What's the cause of that?
Whatever came before it.
The same thing came before it.
Just because there's
whether it goes up or down, the same thing came before it.
1 second. Just because there's a difference in effect, that doesn't mean that the effects were uncaused. And like I've said, if we say that something is uncaused, then like I said previously, we have an infinite regression without a starting point, which begs the question for
Big
effects.
Dog, what's the difference in cause?
Sorry?
What's the difference in cause between
That's
the
not
bar,
my
the
claim,
charged
and
bar
that's
going
not my
up and the
claim.
charged bar going down?
My claim is not that
What's the difference in cause?
My claim is not that there's a difference in cause.
Oh, so
The point-
if it's the same cause, then why does it have different effects? What determines
Why does
whether
the
it will go
same
up or
cause-
down?
Why? Wait, hold on. The same cause having different effects doesn't mean that
What
things
determines,
are...
what causes it to go up or down?
Can I finish? Because this is totally irrelevant.
It
The
is
same
relevant,
cause-
and you're
wait,
not
can I
answering
finish?
it.
Can I finish?
Are you going to
finish?
answer?
Can I finish?
Are you going to answer?
Because I've told you I don't know about quantum physics.
Wait, so
I
do you
can't tell
concede then
But
that
this
you have
point
no
is
basis for
irrelevant.
rejecting this?
This point was irrelevant.
It is perfectly relevant. I'm giving you
No,
something
it's
that
not.
is
Because
uncaused.
This doesn't prove that something is. This doesn't prove that an effect is unlike.
Yeah, so
doesn't
the
have a
effect of having an upspin or a downspin is uncaused.
No, it's not, because something had to come before it.
Yeah, it's the same thing
in the
comes before it.
in the
The exact
experiment-
same thing comes
In
before
the
it.
experiment, the people conducting the experiment were sort of like what's it called? They were in the chain of the effect, let's say, basically.
So what's the difference in cause between it having an upspin, and how does that differ from the cause that causes it to have a downspin?
That's nothing to do with my claim, because my
Answer
claim
the question. What's the difference in cause?
That's nothing to do with my
Answer
claim.
the question.
That's nothing to
Answer
do
the
with my
question.
claim. Nothing to do with
Answer
my
the
claim.
question.
It's nothing
What's
to do
the difference in cause? Answer the question.
When did I make a claim that there has to be a difference in a different?
So if it's the
cause,
same
there's a
cause,
different
then there is
effect?
nothing that causes it to have an upspin as opposed to a downspin.
No, because the actions coming before it was the cause.
It's the same
Something
cause.
being-
So
something
if
being
it's the exact same cause, then why does it have different effects?
That's irrelevant.
It's exactly
Same
relevant.
cause
That is like
having
the
different
exact
effect.
point.
What's the P and not P in a same cause having different effects?
So the point is that you said that everything
What's the P and
necessarily
not P?
is caused. I'm giving you the example of something that isn't caused.
It is
It's not a
caused.
P and not P. It's
All
just
right,
a ref.
there's no
You're making
P
a
and
claim, and I'm
wait,
giving
one
you a
second.
counter
So
example.
there's no P and not P.
Oh, so I guess the
Alright,
P and
may I
not P.
finish? Am
So
I
I
allowed
guess
to
so. Wait,
finish?
wait, wait. I'm so sorry.
Am I allowed to
I can
finish?
give you
Am
the
I
P
allowed
and
to
not P.
finish?
I can give you the P
Am
and
I
not
allowed
P.
to finish?
I can
Am
give
I
you the
allowed
P
to
and not P.
finish?
Do you want me to give you the
You're
P and
not-
not P? Can I answer your question?
You said there was no P and
Can
not
I
P.
can I answer your question?
You said there wasn't
I
a
can
P.
I can
You answered
gladly
it.
wait. I'm so sorry. I'll gladly give you the P and not P. So the P and
You
not P
literally
is
said there
going to
wasn't
be.
one.
Wait, do you want to hear it? I'll give it
You
to you.
literally said
Do you
there
wait?
wasn't
Wait. Do you
one.
want to hear it? I'll give it to you. I'll tell you.
You said there was no
Do you
P
wait?
and
Do you
not
want?
P.
Do you want to hear the P and not P?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so the P and not P in this instance is going to be that there is nothing that doesn't have a cause, and also that there are some things that do not have causes.
Can you explain that?
What's to explain? What are you confused about?
You're making the claim. Can you explain how that's a P and not P?
Yeah, so one of these takes the form of P, and the other one is the negation of that. Hope that explanation
Can you
helped.
expand on that, please?
You want me to expand on which part of that do
Yeah,
you
where's
want
the
expansion on?
contradiction? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
it's so
what-
the contradiction is that it's a
I'm-
P and
I'm
not
gonna
P. That's
tell
the
you- I'm gonna
definition
ask
of
you my
contradiction.
questions. I'm gonna ask you my question. So you
I
understand.
you seem a bit phased right now.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll ask my question if you like. So cool. In a same cause having different effects, what is the P and not P?
For what?
I just told you.
What? Why would I be providing a P and not P for the thing that I believe?
Huh?
Why would I be providing a P and not P for the thing that I believe?
Because I'm trying to understand.
Why would I be demonstrating a contradiction in my own
So this is
worldview?
the point,
What the
because-
What are you talking about?
Because this is the point. You've tried to say, of course, that cool. Basically, that because there is this cause and there's a difference in effects, then what caused it to go up and what caused it to go down? I've said the thing that comes before it. You've said that. You, of course, are disputing that. That's why I'm saying that there is no problem with one same cause having different effects, unless you can provide me a P and not P.
So you're saying that one cause can have different effects? Yeah. So if you acknowledge that one cause.
And that doesn't change. And that
Wait,
doesn't,
and I'm so sorry because I'm just trying to get a hold of where we are in the dialectical context of this all. So you acknowledge you're willing to grant that one cause can have different effects, correct?
yeah. What's the problem?
So then, what causes it to have one effect as opposed to the other?
God.
Come on.
Like what's like? I've literally explained it. It's quite an irrelevant question as well.
Why does
Because it
God
doesn't-
choose? Why does God choose one outcome as opposed to the other?
Sorry,
Why does God choose one cause as opposed to the other?
I don't know. And this doesn't
Gotcha.
disprove God's existence.
Gotcha. So we have. So what evidence do you have that God is the cause of this?
Well, like I've said to you before, that God is, like, by definition, God is the necessary being. And like we have said, right, we can't have the infinite regression without a necessary starting point because it begs the question which you've not really addressed.
Sure, that's nice, but the question that I just asked you, I'll remind you because you didn't answer it. What's the evidence that God causes upspins as opposed to downspins in the electrons that have upspins?
Sorry?
What's the evidence that God causes the upspins as opposed to downspins in the electrons that have upspins?
If you're talking in some sort of hierarchical chain, we would know it's God for the reason I said before.
So what's the evidence that God causes the upspins as opposed to the downspins?
Because God, like, by definition, is this necessary being that...
Why does
is
being a
required-
necessary being mean that you cause upspins
Can
as
I
opposed to
finish?
downspins? Why
Can
does
I
that
finish?
follow?
Can I finish?
Sure.
Because by definition, God is a necessary being which is required for all cause and effect, and you've not really...
What's the argument for that?
Yeah, I'll tell you the argument I've said again. So we cannot have an infinite regression without a starting point, because it begs the question for why contingent things exist and for like
Sure.
contingent
So can I just get the premises of this argument?
if you want.
Yeah, let's premise one.
Sorry?
What's premise one?
Oh, you want me to give you a syllogism?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, why do I need to give you a syllogism?
So, do you take this to be a logical argument?
Yeah, why do I need to have a syllogism?
So, I take logic to be the rules that govern inference from one true thing to another true thing. So, you need to give a syllogism that follows a valid inference rule. Otherwise, the argument isn't logical. To be
So you want me
logical
to-
means
so
that
you
you're
want me to
following
give
valid
you-
inference rules. So, I need a syllogism that follows a valid inference rule. That's just what logic means.
So are you asking for a syllogism for the principle of causality, basically?
I'm asking you for a syllogism that an infinite regress is impossible.
Yeah, so we can talk about of
What's
course-
premise one?
Yeah, so we can give you an argument for the principle of causality and go from there.
I just want an argument that infinite regress is impossible.
Yeah, I can give you a syllogism for the principle of causality, and
What's the conclusion for this?
Sorry?
What's the conclusion?
Sorry?
What's the
Oh, that-
conclusion?
That something already actual is required for potential to be actualized, and then that it would still go into the argument I've just said.
Oh, that doesn't trade off with like an infinite regress. So, for example,
Why
we could
not?
have something actual. We could have like an infinite regress of something that is actual.
Yeah, can you prove that then? If your mate asserts.
No, wait. So I'm just saying like possibly this could be the case, which defeats your necessity.
You need to prove that if you're certain that you need to
So,
prove that.
so what I'm demonstrating here is just going to fall under like modal logic, right? So you're saying necessarily,
So prove it.
yeah, I'm doing that. So you're saying necessarily an infinite regress is impossible because necessarily you would need to have something that's always actual, and I'm saying possibly we could have had something that's always actual just forever.
How is that possible?
How is it possible?
How is it possible that there was because are you trying to say that it's possible that there was an infinite regress, basically, or no?
Yeah, that on face we have no reason to think that it's not possible.
Explain how it's possible for there to be an infinite regress.
Yeah, so there's like this moment, and before was the moment that came before, and then before that was the moment that came before, and then the
You're
moment
doing
before
circular
that.
reasoning again.
It's not circular reasoning. I'm just trying to explain
is
to you what an
because
infinite
I've
regress
asked
is.
I've asked you.
Wait, so
why
what's the conclusion, and how do I presuppose it?
Look, this is the point. Your point is that an infinite regress can happen. That's the conclusion. I've asked you to explain it, and you said,
No, you're shifting the burden. You're saying that it's
I'm not
possible.
shifting the burden because you made an assertion that it is possible. So the point is, bro, what you did is
No, because
inexplain-
you
one
made the
sec.
claim that
Can
it's
I- may I
not
finish?
possible.
Am I
I'm just
allowed to finish?
asking you, what's the argument
Am I
for
allowed to
that?
finish? Am I allowed to finish?
Are you going to give the argument, or are you going to keep shifting the burden?
I'm literally explaining how your reason is.
Are you going to shift the burden, or are you
You're
going to answer the
literally
question?
interrupting because you don't want people to hear.
So the reason why I'm interrupting you is because you're trying to shift
Because
the
you
burden.
don't want people to
It's
hear.
because you're trying to shift the burden. So how
You
about you
made
go
an
ahead?
assertion which
How about
you
you
need
go
to-
ahead and prove the claim that you made, which is that
You
an
made
infinite
an
regress is
assertion which you need
impossible?
to prove. So
How about
I
you go
asked-
ahead and prove that an infinite regress is impossible? Go ahead.
You said it's possible. We're reviewing what
You said that it's
so-
impossible first. It's
And
your burden to prove that.
and I gave reasons.
Yeah, what's
but
the
you
syllogism?
didn't-
Let's
you're
hear it.
not literally giving reasons. for
What's the
yours.
syllogism?
And you
Let's hear
didn't
it.
provide a syllogism for yours.
What's
so
wait? What's the
syllogism, I don't
syllogism
have
for your reasoning? Let's hear it.
Sorry,
What's the syllogism for your conclusion? Let's hear
you've
it.
already made an assertion which is.
What's the
literally-
wait? Can we just get
You're
premise
yet to
one?
prove.
Can we get a premise one reveal?
You've just made an assertion.
Can we get a
Trying
premise
to
one
move past the
reveal?
assertion.
Can we get a reveal of
You
premise
literally
one?
said an infinite regression can
What's
happen.
what's
because it
premise
can happen.
one? Can we get premise one?
You said an infinite regression can
we get
happen
premise
because
one?
It happens.
Can we get a
you've
premise
done
one reveal?
circular Reasoning.
Premise one reveal?
You've done circular reasoning.
Sorry, what's my conclusion and how do I presuppose it?
Okay, I was going to explain, but you literally interrupted. So
Yeah, go for it.
the point is, you made the point that there can be an infinite regress, and then you was explaining, well, there can be this event, and before this event, and then before this event, and then before this event, infinitely. But that explanation already assumes your conclusion. So when you said that there can be an infinite regress, you explained that there could, by assuming your conclusion.
Yeah,
already.
sure, that's fine. I'll
Which
bite.
is
I'll just give you the
circular reasoning.
argument. Yeah, I'll just give you the argument. Premise one, time is premise one, a beginning is a change of states. Premise two, a change of states is a change. Premise three, a change requires a before, during, and after. Premise four, a before, during, and after requires time. Conclusion, a beginning requires time. The implication of this is that time itself cannot have a beginning because the necessary condition for beginnings is the existence of time. And if time did not exist, then it could not have a beginning. Therefore, time must necessarily always exist. Which premise do you reject?
How does that follow that there has to be an infinite regress?
Because time has always existed.
And what is time? You agreed it's a measurement of change. So the
Nice.
big question is why.
Which
is
premise
change
do you
happening?
reject?
Time, like from our worldview.
Which premise do you reject?
Your premise, like, it's a non sequitur. Non sequitur.
So it's not a non sequitur. The inference rule that it follows is 5 hypothetical syllogisms. That's the
Yeah,
inference
but
rule.
how, it doesn't lead to the conclusion that infinite regress can happen.
It leads to the conclusion that time didn't have a beginning.
Yeah, I'm asking you how infinite regress can happen.
So if time did not have a beginning, then necessarily there was an infinite regress.
Because we've literally went over this before. We have to
Which
go over it.
premise do you reject?
Well, this syllogism doesn't prove an infinite regress.
It proves that time didn't have a beginning.
Yeah, time's a metric of change.
So I'm talking
The point is,
specifically
change is the
about
thing that happened. Time is
the
not-
progression from
time
one
is
state of
not-
existence to
one
the other.
second. It's, if you want to say time is not caused, like, that's fine, because I'm not saying the metric was created. But the point is,
Oh,
we
then
need
you
to
can
be
see that God isn't real.
understanding- We need to be. No, I don't.
Yeah,
We need
so
to
then
be-
there's something that God
we
didn't
need
cause.
to be explaining why, right? Of course, change is happening because time is a measurement of change.
No, we
So
don't.
can
You need to
give
pick a
an account
premise.
for how
You
change
need to
can happen
pick a
in-
premise to reject.
You can say them again. I don't remember all of them. I'll be honest.
Gotcha. Yeah, you don't. Do you even remember a single one of them?
You said time isn't created. Like, you can explain it.
That's the conclusion.
Alright,
Sure. Okay.
cool.
Yeah. I'll go through it again. Premise one.
Wait,
beginning,
one sec. The time not being created is your conclusion. It's not. That's your conclusion.
Well, it's that time didn't have a beginning. That's the conclusion.
Yeah, and how does, if that's your conclusion, how is that relevant to there being an infinite regress?
So that means that time has always existed.
And time's just a metric. So what's the point?
No, time is specifically the chain of events. That's what time is.
Yeah, so it's a measurement of change. So what's the point?
No. It's the sequence of events. That's what time is.
And it measures change.
It is the sequence of events. It's not just a measurement of
Yeah,
change.
so
It is
what
the
is- so-
sequence of events specifically.
A sequence of events. So when you say an event, what is that to you? Just to be clear.
Just like a state of existence.
A state of being, so which is different from another state under this chain. So there'll be change happening. So I'm
Sure.
trying to ask you, why
it's
is
just like the
change,
sequence of events.
why does change happen? Can you give an account for that?
Well, it's just the sequence of events.
Can you tell me what that means, please?
So, which word are you confused about what events are, or are you confused about what a sequence is?
I asked you, why does change happen?
Wait.
said
Are you
it's a
confused
sequence of
about what a sequence is, or are you confused about what events are?
I'm confused about your sentence and your answer. You said, I asked you, why does change happen? You've said, oh, it's a sequence of events. I'm trying to understand what exactly that means.
Yeah.
So you
So
need to-
we can say that like time is like the dimension of change.
What does that mean? Because we agreed it's a metric of change. It's a measurement of change.
Well, it's specifically like a dimension of change.
You agreed before that time
So
is
so
a
change
measurement of
happens
change.
because time exists. Time is the force that progresses from one state of existence
You
to the
agreed
next.
you agreed that time is a measurement of change earlier. So the point
In
is,
one sense of it,
the point
in one
is
sense of time, in
measures
one sense,
change.
hold on, in one sense of the word time, I agree with you. But specifically, when I'm saying time, what I'm talking about is the sequence of events, the progression from past to present to future.
Yes, so it's measuring change.
I mean, not really. Like, kind of, not really. That's not really like the most
You
important part of
agreed
it.
that a time measures change.
The
So you
time
need
being
to
like a
take
measurement
account
of
for why
change.
happens.
Time being a measurement of change isn't really relevant to the definition.
It's very relevant because we need to know why change happens.
Yeah, it happens because time exists. We'll just go with that.
So change happens because of time.
Yep.
Can you prove that?
Yeah. So by its very definition, time is the progression from the present to the future.
Yeah, so a measurement of that change.
So then we agree that change happens because time. I'm glad we agreed.
No, you've said that time is a causing factor for change. I wouldn't hold to that because we've already agreed it's a metric. There's something that change.
Well, I've never agreed. I never agreed that it's only a metric. That's not what I agreed to.
Am I allowed to finish?
Are you gonna keep straw manning me?
I'm not straw manning you.
You are straw manning me.
You agreed that.
Well, so I think time is a lot more than that.
Am I
Though.
allowed to finish, please?
Are you gonna keep straw manning me?
How did I straw man you?
Because I think time is a lot more than what you're describing it as.
You agreed it was a measurement of change.
Among other things, yeah.
Changing. Yeah, cool. So you agreed time is a measurement of
Among
change.
other things, yeah.
So the point is, we need to know. We need an actual. Account.
You're just gonna try to go down the dialogue tree that I've already answered.
You've not answered it. Because
do you remember
the
what my
point
answer
is,
was?
You can't have an infinite regression of cause and effect without.
Wait, so then which premise do you reject of my argument for an infinite regress?
Cause and effect is in reference to change.
So
When
which premise do you? So okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna take you right back down linear lane, and you can pick a premise to reject. So premise 1, a beginning is a change of states. Premise 2, a change of states is a change. Premise 3, a change requires a before and after. Premise 4, a before and after requires a past, present, and future. Premise 5, a past, present, and future requires time. So which of these are we going to be rejecting? Otherwise, you need to accept that time does not have a beginning.
I can grant you that it doesn't help you.
Oh, so if time doesn't have a beginning, but it exists, then that means that there is no beginning, which means that time has always existed.
That doesn't mean that time has always been like in practice and measure and what's it called? That doesn't follow basically that there was always change.
Sure it does.
No, it
so
doesn't.
if time is the progression
time,
from one...
Time is a measurement of change. Time isn't like identical to change itself. Like it's not, they're not the same thing.
Time is the progression from one state of existence to the next.
Yeah, the measurement of change, my friend.
Among other things, yeah.
Cool. So
specifically, when I'm talking about it, the relevant feature that I'm interested in is the fact that it is the progression from present to future.
Okay, so you're saying the same thing, that time is a measurement of change. So you need to give an account for why change is happening.
Change is happening because time progresses from present to future.
Yeah, so you're saying change happens because of a progression. Yeah, why is it progressing though?
Because that's what time does. Time is by definition the progression from present to future. What's confusing?
You're saying change happens because change happens basically.
No, not at all. Change happens because time exists and time doesn't have a beginning.
Bro, I've literally explained how that doesn't follow.
So which premise do you reject?
And wait,
no. Oh, you're switching up now because you said you grant that time doesn't have a beginning, and now you're saying you've already explained why that doesn't follow. You haven't explained why that doesn't follow. You've conceded already to this point.
This doesn't prove your point though, because
it does. Time has always existed. You've already conceded this.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't mean that change always happens.
So how would you be defining time then?
Literally, measurement of change.
As a measurement of change.
Which you agreed with.
I among other things, of course.
You agreed
it's not just a measurement of change.
Then what is time then?
I've already explained it. Time is the progression from present to future.
What does that mean?
Which word are you getting tripped up on?
What do you mean when you say that? Can you explain the whole thing?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I got you. So a progression is when you like move forward through a sequence. So we got progression from is like a particle. I would have to look up a definition from that. So progression from present is like the current moment of existence that is right now. Two is going to be a particle. I'd have to look up that one for
Well,
you
what's
if you're
this
confused on
progression
that.
in
Wait. I'm still trying to explain it to you. And then of course, future is like the set of events that are after the present in the sequence. Did that elucidate anything for you?
Yeah, so from you giving that explanation, that's in reference to change, right?
It's time. We're talking about time.
Yeah, so we talk about time in reference to change. We agree on that, right?
So when I say time, all I mean is the progression from present to future.
Yeah, so your definition doesn't contradict mine because it's still measuring change.
That's totally fine. Sounds good. When I talk
Yes,
about
that's
time,
fine. So
when I talk about time, all I'm saying
it's more than that. What your definition doesn't cover anything that my definition didn't.
Oh, wait, so then if your definition includes like the overall timeline, then that means the timeline has no beginning. If the timeline has
saying
no
that-
beginning, then that means that it's always existed.
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, so if the timeline doesn't have a beginning, then it's infinite.
Time. Wait, hold on. Time and a timeline. Are you saying that?
I'm
these are
talking about the
different terms?
timeline.
I thought you was talking about time as a measurement. Now you're saying timeline.
I've always been talking about the timeline.
Time and a timeline isn't the
Bro,
same
this
thing,
is ridiculous. Okay.
A metric and putting the metric into practice are not the same
Sure.
thing, are they?
So I'm talking
a
about the. So
timeline
I'm
is
so
putting
I'm
the
so
metric
sorry.
into
Let me
practice.
let me take it from the top. So a beginning is a change of states. A change of states is a change. A change requires a before and an after. A before and an after requires a past, present, and future. And a past, present, and future requires a timeline. Therefore, the timeline cannot have a beginning because a beginning requires the existence of the timeline already.
Wait, hold on.
Therefore, we would conclude that the timeline is
You
infinite.
said you was talking about
Which
time.
I'm talking about the
Time and
timeline.
timeline are not the same.
Okay,
thing.
yeah. So I'm clarifying.
You're
I'm talking
changing
about
the
the
point.
timeline. That's what I've
this
always
whole
been
time
talking
is-
about. You've just
You
been
need to be
confused.
specific. Then now
I'm
you're-
being
you're
specific
changing
right
the
now.
timeline.
I'm being specific right now.
You
So
said, look,
clearly there's been a miscommunication.
well, you
because this
didn't
is what I've
communi-
always
you didn't
held
communicate
to.
properly.
I
Because
did
this-
communicate properly. Wait, can you summarize even one of my definitions?
Of what?
What's a definition? What's the first definition of time that I gave you?
A sequence of like before.
Yeah,
and
the
after.
sequence of events, also known as the timeline.
Okay, like.
So I've always been talking about the timeline. So now that we're up to speed, which premise do you reject?
Bro, what are you talking about? I've literally said.
And I understand that you're confused, right? Because you've gotten like slammed, you're probably concussed. Which premise do you reject of the syllogism that I just gave you?
I literally said I can grant the syllogism.
So
It
then you
doesn't-
grant that the timeline doesn't have a beginning
How does that follow again?
because you granted the syllogism.
How does that follow that a timeline?
Because you grant the
doesn't-
syllogism, which means you grant the conclusion, which means that the timeline doesn't have a beginning, which means that the timeline has always existed.
That doesn't follow that.
Which
change.
step of the logic does that not follow from?
How does that syllogism now follow that change?
You
is-
granted the syllogism.
Yeah, you need to demonstrate how it proves an infinite regress though.
Because the timeline doesn't have a beginning, which means it goes back infinitely.
Can you explain that again, please?
Yeah, so the timeline exists right now. It doesn't have a beginning, so it just keeps on going back and back and back. That's an infinite regress.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that because the point is that this is where it goes back to, of course, what we should have clarified more. Because are you using the term timeline and time?
I've always been talking about the timeline. I will always be talking about the timeline. If I mention time or the timeline, I'm talking about the timeline.
For why
I'm
change?
You want to go down your script so badly. I'm talking about the timeline. Keep up.
Yeah, so as we've said, if time is the measurement of change,
Then we
to
need an
know
account
what
of change. That's very nice. We're talking about the timeline.
Yeah, which is measuring change.
So the timeline is the sequence of events.
Okay.
So do we
point.
agree that the sequence of events doesn't have a beginning?
Nope. A sequence
So
of
then-
events needs a necessary beginning.
Sure. So then which premise do you reject?
Say them again.
Yeah, so premise one, a beginning is a change of states. Premise two, a change of states is a change. Premise three, a change requires a
Wait,
before.
a beginning is a change of states. Like,
Yeah.
is that what you said?
Yeah, a beginning is a change of states, yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with that definition of beginning.
Sure, so when time began, was there a change in reality?
When time began, we literally both granted that time as a metric wasn't created and had a beginning.
So when the timeline began, was there a change in reality?
Time as a metric and timeline is a difference, but
I'm talking about the timeline. I've been talking
I
about the
dis-
timeline the entire
you said
time.
a beginning.
So wait. So you think you know better about what I've been talking about rather than like the definition that I've been like super
Well,
clear
when we
about.
talk about what a beginning's not a change.
So then reality was the same before God created the timeline as it was after. So there was no difference in the timeline or in reality before and after God's act of creating the timeline.
God didn't create time, so what's your
So
point?
then the timeline, did God create the timeline?
Like, if you're talking about putting the metric into practice, then you can say, of course, God is the supreme cause for cause and effect. But what's the point?
Did God cause the timeline? Did he create the timeline?
When you say timeline, are you talking about the sequence of events?
Yes.
Put into practice, right?
Just the sequence of events, yeah.
Yeah, it don't seem like we use these words the same way. So, in reference to your syllogism, I've already said I disagree with premise one.
You disagree that a beginning is a change of states.
Yeah.
Can you give me the beginning where reality stays the same?
Yeah, so a beginning is a necessary starting point. It's not a change of states.
It could be lots of things.
Yeah, I don't agree with premise one. I've told you.
Wait, so then the beginning of the timeline was necessary? It wasn't contingent?
Yeah, the beginning's necessary.
So the beginning of the timeline was necessary?
Yep.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it
Wait,
explains the
so then you just
timeline.
fall into necessitarianism.
What's the point?
So God was not free to create the timeline or not create the timeline because its existence was necessary.
Yeah, I don't think we use those words the same. So how you would use the words is different from how I'd use the words.
Yeah, which word are we getting tripped up on?
Timeline. When we talk about a timeline, I would understand that in reference to the metric.
Yeah, I've already defined for you how I'm using it. I'm not talking about the metric. Words don't have objective definitions. All they mean is what you mean them to mean.
Yeah, well, we
I've
don't
clarified
use the
my
words
meaning
the
to
same
you.
way,
We don't
so-
need to use them the same. You just need to
So
keep
when
up
you
with the
say-
way I'm
the point
using
is,
it.
when you say certain things, I'm not really gonna mean it that way, so I wouldn't agree.
But
with
you know what my
with
meaning
you're
is when I
saying.
use it, so you can engage with my meaning when I use it.
So you're trying to say that, of course, like if you want to repeat your point, because we went.
Do you
down
take
to that.
so? And I'm so sorry. Do you take definitions to be propositional? Do you think that there's like a true definition?
Yeah, they're subjective. Definitions are subjective.
I agree. Yeah, I think they're non-propositional. All they mean is what you mean them to mean. That's like all a word means. So I'm telling you, when I say timeline, all I mean is like the sequence of events.
Okay.
Did God create the sequence of events?
Create the sequence of events. What do you mean, like put in practice, or like the metric
Did
of
he
time?
cause them to come into existence? We're not talking about the metric. Nobody's talking about the metric. I will never be talking
Are
about
you
the
just
metric.
saying did God?
Wait,
God
so
cause
and I'm
things
so
to
sorry, and I'm so sorry. I just want to clarify because it seems like there's some confusion. I have never been talking about the metric. I will never be talking about the metric. I will always be talking about the sequence of events. If you ask me whether I'm talking about the metric or not, it's because you don't know what to say and you're waffling. Let's keep this in mind moving forward. No, I'm not talking about the metric. I'm talking about the sequence of events, talking about the timeline.
Yeah, God. If you're asking, does God have to cause things to happen? Yes.
Did God create the timeline?
God is the cause of like our observation of the timeline. If that's what you're asking.
That's not what I'm asking. Did God create the timeline?
Did God create the timeline in reference to what?
Why does it need to be in reference to? I'm not sure I understand the
I have to
question.
know what you're talking about now.
So the timeline exists. You know, are you
Yeah.
familiar with like what creation is? Does the timeline exist because God created
In
it?
reference to what?
I don't even understand what that question would be asking.
When you say timeline, when you say timeline, can you elaborate what you mean then again, please? Because it's one moment you say you use time and timeline interchangeably, and then you.
Oh no. Oh no. I don't think I can. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think I can define it for a 30th time. I'm sorry. I don't think I have it in me to give you the definition again. Like if you need it like 33 times, I guess I just can't even help you. Damn. Gosh, I was about to have a heated gaming moment. Luckily we avoided it though. Keep on double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Let's get the next one on up in here. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
What's up?
How old are you?
I'm 19,
What year were you born?
like 2007.
2007? Okay. On to the next one. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you are 18 or older, that you do believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. All right, let's get the next one. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, cool. And what religion?
I would say I'm just kind of branching into Christianity. I'm still kind of on the fence, and I just kind of wanted to ask you a question about
Yeah, go for it.
like why you think God isn't real, and in reference to like all the universal debates about it and like the cause of existence.
Sure, yeah, go for it. Like, what's the question specifically?
I guess like the universe is very complex, and I mean, I'm sure you know a lot about biology.
I don't know, fair amount.
I guess like how we went from single cell organisms to humanoids and like
Yeah.
all this complex timeline of events. It kind of questions like, is there a divine being? Is there a higher being that created us?
Sure. I guess this, I feel like this speaks to like a flaw in like human cognition. Because what we're reasoning from is the observation that like the universe is complex. That's your starting point. The universe is like really complicated. And I think that it does like a disservice to our own intellect to say, well, the universe is very complex, therefore it must be God. I feel like it's like kind of like a lazy way out. I think that there's explanations for literally every piece of this complexity, that through a complex arrangement of like simple principles, relatively simple like laws of physics, we result in this. But that's not because there's like a God. It's just because the universe is really big and there's lots of atoms, and we have all these like cool planets, and if you have enough of these cool planets, eventually like really cool things are going to emerge from it, like life.
Okay. And I kind of stayed for a little bit of the previous person.
I apologize.
I know he was kind of going back and forth. But like he had a point. I think it was on like uncaused things, that things are uncaused. What was it again? Can you remind me?
Yeah. So do you want like the example of the things that aren't caused?
Yeah, like how, I don't know what he specifically stated, but he said that like something that God related to causes. I don't remember specifically.
Maybe that like God is like the cause of electrons having like upspins versus downspins, or are you thinking of something else?
Yeah. So, like, can you explain that to me, like how
Sure.
that relates, kind of?
Yeah. So what the previous guest was claiming is that all things are caused, that everything exists because it was like caused to exist. That the way things are because they were caused to be this way. This covers a lot. This is generally true. It's like mostly true, but it's not always true. It's kind of the problem. Specifically, the instance where this isn't true is going to be an instance like the one that I'm citing in quantum mechanics, where certain particles have upspins or downspins, and it's regularly distributed. 50% have upspins, 50% have downspins, but there is absolutely nothing that causes any individual electron to have an upspin as opposed to a downspin. It's like just completely uncaused.
So is that just like randomness, or is that
Yeah.
like okay?
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess there's a lot of things in this world that are random, but I don't think that disproves that God isn't real, because God, I would say, like, still, I'm kind of new in this. Like, God created everything. He's all knowing, all being, like, all loving, all that. And like, he could create randomness. He could create all these differences in the world, you know? Like, how would you back that up?
Sure. So I think what this confuses, okay. So when we're going back and forth, when we're like reasoning through, this follows something called the dialectic. This is like thesis, antithesis, synthesis. So one person puts forward like the thesis, for example, that God exists, and the reasoning that they put forward the thesis is that because everything has a cause. Now, the antithesis that I'm putting forward to refute the thesis, the antithesis that I put forward is no, that's not true. Not everything has a cause. And I point to the electrons that have upspins or downspins. And you can say that, like, the synthesis that is attempted here is to say, well, God could just be the cause of these things. But of course, that's just like presupposing the thesis, like the thing that you're trying to prove. So you say that the thesis is true because of this piece of evidence. I demonstrate why that piece of evidence actually isn't true. And then you rely on the thesis to prove the thesis. It's like a circle. It's circular. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, it did. I think it made a little bit of sense. I do have another question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
What religion are you? Are you atheist?
Yeah, I'm an atheist, yeah.
Okay. And so you believe more in like scientific standpoints and like philosophical, right?
Basically, like more or less, I think science is reliably led to like true conclusions.
Okay. I mean,
and by the way, I don't think that you should. I don't think. I think I'd reject like the association like atheism means science, because I think even if you are a Christian, even if you go down the Christian path, you should still be pro science, right? Like you shouldn't be like the Christian who denies science. That's just silly.
Yeah, like I don't deny science at all. I would say I'm kind of in between. Like, I just recently started reading Genesis, and I'm still trying to figure out, like, with all the debates. I'm sure you've heard of Cliff Connectley.
Yeah, I'm not too impressed by him, but yeah.
What do you think his debates are flawed?
So, I guess I think that there's like selection. I don't think it's very hard to look good in a debate against people who have no idea what they're talking about. I think going to like a college campus and debating people who are unprepared, like you could debate them on anything, right? Like you could be like a flat earther and you just have like the flat earth arguments, and then you just come into the college campus and you post all the times that you win. And if you're good enough at it, you're probably going to win a lot because these people aren't prepared for it. So you can just like surprise people with an argument, and then there's really nothing to say except and then you like post them being confused, and then it looks like you like won handily. I don't think that's very impressive. What I do think is impressive is when someone goes against like a good debater and wins. And every time I see Cliff go against a good debater, he loses like really badly. The most recent example of this is his debate against like Alex O'Connor, and the other one. it was genuinely like really brutal, like brutally one-sided. I don't know, like I don't even think that they should be allowed to post this type of like violence on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Cliff got like pretty straightforwardly annihilated. But I don't know. I'm obviously biased. I would encourage you to watch that debate if you think that Cliff makes like good points or that he like wins debates.
Yeah, so I haven't seen those, but there was one where he debated a college religious major. So it was like a female. I think that's a really popular video of his because, I mean, the girl had some pretty good points. And I do agree that a lot of them are college students, a lot of them are unprepared. But I also believe that, like, Cliff had a bunch of good points. Like, he talked about the resurrection of Jesus and how he came back and how there were actual visual representations of him. There were writings down. There were Jewish people that converted into Christianity after seeing Jesus arise from the dead.
Yeah, sure. Let's go through those. Yeah. So your first was, I'm sorry, what was the first point there?
The first point was the visual representation that Jesus came back to life.
Which is what? Like are you talking about the shroud?
Yeah.
Okay. The shroud is a known forgery. When we radiometrically date it, it dates back to the 13th century, which interestingly is the exact time where it starts popping up in the history books.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so does that just mean it's like there was no one in there? There was no one in the shroud?
I think so. When we check the substance of the shroud, I forget exactly what it is, but I read a study that says that you can recreate the effect by using like oil and sunlight.
Is this the Shroud of Turin or whatever?
Yeah, the Shroud of Turin, yeah.
Yeah, so I did see a lot of stuff on that. I actually haven't done much research into this.
Yeah, it's like, just a known forgery, right? Like we radiometrically date it. It dates back to the 13th century.
I guess my question to that is like, it's a linen cloth, right? So like, how would you be able to bear that for that long, you know? Like, I feel like the graphs or whatever would be skewed because like it was there for such a long time, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, how do I explain this? It was a linen cloth and the representation of it was, let me see. Like the image of it. And you said it was electro what?
I believe from the study that I read, if I remember correctly, you can recreate the effect just with like oil and sunlight. But let me look up.
Yeah.
What is the substance on the Shroud of Turin?
Because I thought it was just cloth. Or linen, yeah.
So there's like a type of pigment on it as well.
Okay.
The image has been painted with a solution of red ochre pigment and gelatin, or in a gelatin medium. So these were basically just like painted on.
Okay, so you think it was just completely made up?
Yeah, well, that's just what all the evidence points to, is that it was made up, yeah. And so we have lots of evidence that says that it's a forgery. In fact, there's like good cause to assume that it's a forgery. Like the person who first introduced it used it to like gain power. So we just have like good reason to think that it was a forgery, and we have no evidence that would make us think that it's like legitimate.
Okay. So what do you think about like all the depictions of Jesus? Do you think those were also just made up, like all the I don't have the exact source, but I remember in the Cliff video he talked about how there were a lot of Jewish people when they saw Jesus arise from the tomb and they saw him walking, instead of praying on Sunday or Saturday, the Sabbath, they prayed on Sunday for Jesus. And there's like actual numbers that provide that like there were X amount of Jewish people that actually converted into Christianity after seeing Jesus arise.
Yeah, I mean, big if true, but the problem with all of this is that there's no name of anyone other than like supposedly the disciples who actually saw Jesus after he resurrected. Paul claims like 500 people saw him. We have not a single name for any of these people. So I just don't even know what the basis to make that claim would be. I don't know. I'd probably need something more specific than that.
I mean, I guess you could kind of like assume and question the fact that if there was a single day where just 500 people instantly transferred to Christianity, that something had to have happened, correct?
But what's the evidence that like 500 people transferred to Christianity?
I would have to do more research. I'm sorry about that.
It's totally fine. The origin for the 500 people claim is Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure. Let me see.
Yep. And he just doesn't name, like, the problem is he just doesn't name them. He says, 500 people saw it. Like, trust me, bro.
Yeah.
I'd find it really compelling if there was like, holy shit, like a bunch of independent, like eyewitnesses who have no affiliation with Jesus, who like sign their name, say like, I'm this person, this is my testimony, like I saw Jesus. God, I'd find that very compelling. Unfortunately, that's just not what we have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of the people that saw him arise are like biblical references.
Yep.
So like Mary Magdalene, and like that's the one I know was the first person that saw Jesus arise. I guess like what would you have to say that the Bible is fictitious? Like what would you say?
So much.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know. I think the most compelling stuff is the problem of evil stuff. I think it's like the hardest to reconcile. Is just like the horrible atrocities, because I think there's problems with like Bible contradictions, but you can do all sorts of like mental gymnastics to get out of those. And then like, it says a whole bunch of wrong stuff about science. Like it says that the earth is older than the sun. It says that like rabbits chew cud. It says that like, it says that like outer space is water in Genesis. And I don't know, like you can probably get out of all of those by just saying like, well, it's a metaphor, or that like the science isn't, or the Bible isn't meant to be a science textbook. I guess, so the stuff that I think can't be gotten out of that easily, is stuff like this, like the slavery stuff. When God says, you can own slaves, God is supposed to be perfectly just, perfectly moral, like literally, like the source of all morality. And he's saying that you can own slaves.
Yeah. I guess a lot of people will say that he's using metaphors, and I think that the Bible itself is like interpreted differently for different people. I think that a lot of people see the Bible and they relate it to their own life, and they like take points from the Bible, quotes, and they try to relate it to their own life. And I guess it makes people feel more connected to like a higher being. So how would I make a question as? Do you kind of see what I'm trying to say? Like that the Bible isn't supposed to be just like one strict thing. It's
the problem is the slavery section is it's unambiguous what the slavery section is. So the slavery verses happen in Leviticus, and you said you just started reading Genesis, so I'll give you the TLDR because it's only like the first book. So all like the Genesis stuff happens, whatever. World falls, Noah's Ark, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward a while, Moses is born at like kind of the end of Genesis, if I remember correctly. Start of Exodus, there's like all of the, it's like all the Egypt stuff, but it's chill. Moses gets them out of there with the power of God. Then God is like, okay, perfect. Now that I've gotten you out of Egypt, you're going to go to this land. Here are the rules. And then it's like a whole bunch of gosh, you'll find most of this like really boring when you get to it. But it's like a whole bunch of laws. For like the second half of Exodus, it's just all the laws of the land, and then for all of Leviticus, it's just more laws. It's God telling Moses what the laws are. It's not a metaphor. It's not like a poem. It's not like up for interpretation. This is God saying, "Hey Moses, these are the laws by which we will govern the people."
Okay. And I'm assuming like the laws also include like the slavery parts of it, right?
Yep. Yeah. The laws about slavery. So in Exodus, it gives you laws about how to treat your slaves, which says that you can beat your slaves if you want to. And then in Leviticus, it says that you can like own them.
Okay.
So I don't know, if you keep reading the Bible, you'll get to it. And I don't know, there's like lots of cope. People will say, well, it was like vastly different. It wasn't vastly different. These are not indentured servants. These are slaves. These are people who you own as property. You can give them to your children because you own them for life. These are slaves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Bible was taken a long time ago, I guess.
Yep.
Slavery was very just back in the day, but I still think...
Oh, I don't think so. I think slavery was always wrong. I mean, the people at the time...
Yeah, slavery's always been wrong.
Yeah. So I agree that they may have thought that it was right, but I feel like that's just evidence that the Bible's written not by people who God inspired. The Bible was written by people who had their own morality and then like argued for it.
Okay. All right. So I don't have many other points. I guess my last question would be, if someone who was a Satanist came up on here, would you be willing to debate them?
Yeah, I think that Satan is equally as fake, yeah.
And what claims would you make, like, against, like, a
Satan?
Satan?
It's just that the Bible isn't true.
Really?
Yeah, it's not true.
Wouldn't that... Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because, so, if they think that Satan is real, it relies on them thinking that the Bible is real.
Okay.
I'd run, like, literally the exact same arguments, that it says, like, God's all good, and then he does evil shit, which contradicts, like, the part of the Bible where it says that, like, God is all just.
Okay. All right, well, I'm sure there's other people in here that have read more of the Bible than me. I'll definitely come back once I have more facts. It was good debating you.
Yeah, it was good debating you too. Yeah, stay curious.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep. All right, bye-bye. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you are 18 or older, that you do believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you got that argument which does not involve personal experience. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest, but keep on double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Yeehaw. Thank you so much. Sorry, I haven't been reading gifts. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Mark?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So where do I start? So you don't think God, what is God to you?
I take God at the bare minimum to be like an immaterial mind who's a necessary being that just made everything other than himself.
He made everything of himself?
Everything other than himself. Like all the things that exist that aren't God, God made all of these things.
Okay. Well, I'm a Christian, so I mean, it says that we're made in his image. And he made Adam first, right? You know the story. And then later took the rib out and then made Eve, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he made Adam and rib, yeah. But
I mean, this is what I'm getting at. The rib is probably the only, one of the body parts that can reform. You know what I'm saying? Like if you break a rib, it'll automatically regrow. It's like God knew he could have took an ear, he could have took a toe, but he took the rib and made Eve with it. So it's like, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You know, the stuff that he says, it's happening.
So I guess there's probably like lots of different parts of you that regrow. Also, I guess I have no reason to think that they wouldn't have this information that ribs regrow. I guess like I feel like that's a piece of information they could probably have at that time. Is that it regrows? Also,
that time, brother.
Yeah, of course. Like people are saying in chat that the liver regrows. That's true. When you like donate your liver, they'll like slice off a large piece of your liver and then it'll regrow.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I mean, but like I said, he intentionally grabbed the rib, and it's like he knew. I mean, like I said, he's the beginning and the end, right?
That's
So you
cool,
don't
but like
believe in
lots of
Jesus?
other parts of you regrow. It seems like it's like a wild gander, and then you can interpret it
Oh no,
in this way if you want.
right. Yeah, I agree with you. There's other parts that grow, but even going back to your last comment about the slavery, United States was the worst when it came to slavery. We all know that. So I mean, we're comparing different types of slavery here. I mean, I think when you read into it, it's more like a slave was back then was like a worker.
No. Do you beat your workers?
No, that's what I'm saying. That was in America. I mean, the
It was
Bible
also
wasn't
in the
based in
Bible.
America.
In Exodus,
But
it
the
says
Bible
that you can
isn't.
beat your slaves.
Can you pull up the verse so we can
Yeah.
read it? Because maybe we're reading it out of context.
Sure. So this is Exodus 21.
Is this King James or NIV?
I was going to read the NRSVUE because that's the academic standard, but I can read King James if you want.
No, I don't. The King James one is too. It's brutal, man.
I agree. It's not a good translation.
Right.
So we got the laws concerning violence.
Thank you for taking me too. I've been trying to get on your live for the longest. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad I can get you here.
you're popular. Yeah.
Thanks, appreciate it. So in Exodus 21, this is 20 through 21, it says, when a slave owner strikes a male or female slave with a rod and the slave dies immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if the slave survives a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. So it's saying that you can beat your slave. There's no punishment if you do, unless they die, and then there's a punishment. So it's giving you permission to beat
So
your
it's saying
slave.
No, it says that you'll be punished if he dies.
But if they don't die, then what's the punishment?
But if they don't die, then there's no punishment.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I mean, we're like I said. I mean, I don't know because I wasn't born in that time, right? So I don't know what they were beating their slaves over. But I know it wasn't American slavery. We were doing it just because of the color of the skin. I mean, like I said, they could have been worshiping a different god at the time. Who knows? There's no evidence to back that they were punishing them for no reason, or you can't claim that they didn't do that for because they were going against God. I mean, I can't tell you. I can't.
Yeah. So this might make sense if it wasn't God explicitly giving all of these instructions. Like, this is coming from God. This is like a quote by God. God is giving this law. It is God who is speaking the law.
Right.
So he's
And
saying,
everything-
because to me, like, a good God would say, no slaves. You can't own people as property, and certainly no beating your slaves. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right.
But instead what he says is, you can beat them, not too hard though.
Yeah. I can't. Brother, I wish I could, debate that topic, but I mean, I wasn't born back then, and I don't. I have to look more into that. But so you don't believe Jesus Christ walked this earth?
He might have walked the earth. I think that there's good historical evidence to suggest that he was real. We have no historical evidence that would suggest that he resurrected.
Well, there was eyewitnesses.
Which ones?
His disciples. I mean, all of them were willing to unalive themselves just to claim that they give them a choice. Either you say you didn't see him, or you unalive yourself, and they unalive themselves because they were not going to turn their back against him. And then again, that's faith. Faith is believing without seeing.
Yeah, that's not quite true. So we know that a couple of them were martyred. I think that there were 3 of them. My memory isn't one of them. We don't have an account that says Peter was martyred because he insisted that the resurrection happened. All we know is that Peter was martyred, which is typical for all religions.
Right. And then, even if we don't believe in Jesus Christ, why is it that we do AD, which is after death, right? And then BC is before Christ. So why is it that we face the calendar? We base the calendar off of Jesus Christ as being, resurrection.
Yeah, because Christianity is very influential in our culture. I agree, but that doesn't mean it's true.
There's no way to not prove it, brother.
I think there is. I think the like the horrific
So
evils
where
in
do you
the
think
Bible.
we came from, brother?
At what point? And are you asking like where did life
Like
come from? Are you asking
because
like,
I mean, I'm
from life
telling
where
you
did
where.
humans come from? Are you asking like where did the universe come from? Are you asking where the Earth came from? What are you asking?
So like God, I tell you where God came from. I mean, God made us, right? And that's where we come in. So where do human come in your timeline?
I think that all the evidence would point to evolution. So
Evolution.
humans come around like 200,000 years ago. Another thing that the Bible gets wrong, by the way.
Okay. No, it's just so. I mean, I think I've heard you one time say that we came from monkeys, and that just blew my mind.
No, that's
okay. That's good. I'm glad you didn't.
So we are apes. We do not come from monkeys. Like that's if you look at like where
apes,
humans
I'm sorry.
follow
So-
in like the classification, like humans just are apes. We are apes.
I don't believe that. I know, growing up, we were shown that diagram of the apes, and we evolved and stuff like that. But I don't believe that because I feel like why isn't it happening still? Why is it that? Why are they still locked up? The apes. Why are they not evolving?
Well, evolution is still to this day happening. Evolution is an extremely slow process, though. Evolution happens, like I think we split from chimpanzees like 6 million years ago. Keep in mind that humans are only like 200,000 years old on the Earth.
Well, brother, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I want to tell you my testimony, but I know you don't like testimonies. But there's no way to prove that there's a God, and the only thing I can tell you is God bless you, and I hope we're all going to meet our Maker, right, one day. So you're smart, you're a smart guy. So hopefully you get to know Christ before it's too late.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's so, I mean, do you think that there's anything better than a relationship with God?
You know what? Like, I have kids, and I tell my kids this. I'm like, you want to know who your dad was? I want you to read the Bible, because I'm not the man I was, because I wouldn't say I was a womanizer. I used to use women for the wrong reasons, and like God changed my life, and all the glory to Him. But I'm telling them, if you ever want to know who your dad was, you read that Bible, pick up that Bible, and you'll find out who your dad was. And so, I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, but
so it sounds like a yes. So like the greatest good in a human's life is a relationship with God.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because you're not putting. Sure. I mean, like the number one sin. I don't know. Do you know what the number one sin or the first sin was in this world?
Yeah, it's going to be like the Adam and Eve story, but that's.
You know what? I thought that too, but when I went to Bible study, I'm with the older guys. They said that wasn't the number one sin. The first sin was Satan wanting to be better than God. That was the first sin. So
but pride, I thought you were just talking about on the earth. Sure, yeah.
Right. No, yeah, but I mean, I said the same thing. The apple was the first sin, but no, yeah, Satan, pride. And at the end of the day, if I put my kids before God, I mean, God blessed me with kids. So at the end of the day, what is that good if He can take my kids? I have to be thankful to God that He gives me anything in this world.
Sure. So if the greatest good for humans is a relationship with God, then we would agree that there is no greater good that is being achieved by God not taking the steps that would be necessary for a relationship, right? Like if this is already the greatest good and the steps necessary for the relationship is like making your existence known, for example, and God hasn't done that for me, He hasn't made His existence known, then we could conclude that God doesn't exist because God would create like the most good world. But we don't live in that world because the most good world that includes God would be one where everyone has a relationship with Him.
Right. Well, He hasn't. I mean, the thing is, we have to unplug from this world. We have to remove, distractions in order to have a relationship with Him. If I have a house full of kids, and I don't make time for Him, how could I hear Him? How could I, have a relationship with Him? So even though you may not have encountered God yet, I mean, that's not to say that, after this, when you get off of here, He doesn't. You know what I mean? Everything happens for a reason, brother. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I know your comments are getting mad at me, so I'm just yapping like they said. So I'll go ahead and let you go.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I mean, there's no need. But sure, yeah. All right. Thanks for coming up. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. And if you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. All right, let's go to the very next one. But keep on double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hello. Is my mic working?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 18.
What year were you born?
I was born 2006.
Okay. What religion are you?
Atheist Satanism.
I don't know. I don't really like. I think it's confusing. I think that you probably shouldn't, if you like the values that are purported by like just like the humanist values that Satanistic atheism or atheist, I don't know, that like the atheist strand of Satanism promotes, then I think that you should just take those values and then probably cut the Satanist part out, because I think it's confusing and unproductive.
I get that. However, it is a little funny, you do have to admit.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Like, I guess I just don't think, I think like totally trolling your opposition. I think the more I look into these issues, the more I look into like society and the state of it currently, I guess I think that we need like a lot less of this. I think that people should be taking things a bit more serious than this. Like, I don't know. I guess this is going to lead to like a whole tirade about politics, but I think, like, you know, I have like very leftist leanings. And one of my biggest problems with the left is that they care too much about getting like sick owns on Twitter, that they don't actually like engage with trying to change people's minds about these issues. And I guess I just don't think that there's very much value in that. So similarly, I think it's like you can get like the haha sick owns by like claiming to be like a Satanist. I just don't think there's very much value in that, though.
Yeah, I do definitely see your perspective on that. But from what I have seen, from like more organized Satanist groups, like I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Satanic Temple at all or their work, but a lot of the times when they use Satanism, it's sort of as this like a way to fight against, religion entering the government, right? It's sort of the idea of if you're going to allow God in the classroom, right, then constitutionally you have to allow Satan as well.
Sure. Okay, wait. So I actually do think, gosh, this activated like a part of my memory. Yeah. I actually do think that work is like really good. I think that that's awesome, great, really cool work. That being said, in your personal life, if you're actually going out there to engage with Christians, I think if you call yourself a Satanist, you're doing that like basically just to be provocative. But if it, like, I think the legal work is all cool. I think that that's like a domain where it's like reasonable for, I guess, atheistic Satanists to exist. But I do think taking it out of the legal realm doesn't make much sense, and is definitely going to make people less disposed to listening to you if they already don't agree with you.
Like it makes, from what I've seen, when I've seen like a Satanist like debate a Christian, it usually just ends with the Christian stonewalling immediately and just not letting anything go through.
Yep, that seems like it would be the outcome to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to ask, because I like debating every so often as a hobby as well, and you sort of got me into it. So I was going to ask you if you maybe have any debate advice when it comes to debating.
Sure. I think so. The best rhetorical advice you'll ever get is to stay calm and say true things. As long as you're staying calm and saying true things, then you're good. I think that what's tough about debates, some things that I notice from like more inexperienced debaters, is that they don't know. I think the way you win a debate is you find like one winning point. You don't need like 30 winning points. You need one winning point, and then you need to press down really hard on it. I think with inexperienced debaters, one thing that I see quite often is that they'll jump from point to 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 point, and they never corner their opponent because they're never like putting like continuous pressure onto their opponent. I feel like you should always be trying to corner your opponent, and every step in the interaction should either get you closer to cornering your opponent, or it should be like you calling them out for like trying to run away from the point. Like you should always be dragging them back to the same place that you're trying to corner them, and then you should be like honing in on them. I don't know. I guess I'd say that's my advice.
I get that. I guess maybe another question, just in terms of debate advice. I've noticed a lot. People have a tendency to, like I said, just stonewall when you're debating in general. Any advice for how to maybe stop that from happening?
Gosh, I think that takes like a lot of rhetoric. I don't know. That's typically more like, I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice. I know that there's like rhetorical stuff. Like if you're really super nice to everyone and you're like so over the top, like attempting to be like so genuine and so understanding, then it's going to make it like less likely for that to happen. But honestly, that's a lot of effort. And if someone's being bad faith with me, I'll probably just try to crush them.
Yeah, and there's probably like an argument of you may not convince this person, but watching this person act like a big baby and whining might convince other people that their position looks stupid. So
yeah, I don't know. I think that if somebody doesn't want to have their mind changed, then so be it. Like if that's the hill that they want to die on, I guess then perish. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, another thing, last question before I go.
Yep.
When people, because like a lot of times when I'm like debating, I'll ask like questions and people will just take like the weirdest bullet bites and I never really know what to do there, right? Like
you should make funny faces at the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, you just repeat the point back as many times as it takes. You emphasize the point as many times as it takes. Don't move on. They want to move on. Don't move on. If they bite some insane, crazy bullet, make a big deal out of it. Dip into your like acting abilities. I don't know. Be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, really try to sell it.
All right. Thank you for like the advice and answering the questions. I do love your content. Huge fan. Thank you.
Yep. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. All right. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have an argument which does not involve personal experience. An argument is a claim and a warrant. It's a thing you believe and a reason to believe it. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest. Let's get him on up in here. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yo.
Yeah, how old are you?
18.
Gotcha. What religion?
Christianity.
Gotcha. And what year were you born?
2007.
What month?
February.
Okay.
23rd, I swear.
Okay. Happy birthday.
It was just my birthday. Appreciate it, yeah.
So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like. I just grew up and like went to church and shit, and like I would always just feel good like after church. So like I don't know for sure like if he's real. So I'm not like a diehard Christian, but like I low key think it's possible.
Okay.
I think it's debatable.
Sure. Yeah, I certainly agree. I think it's debatable as well. I don't think that believing it makes me feel good is like very good evidence though. So I think probably like, what you're feeling is like what makes you feel so good is like the sense of community. And I agree, like a sense of community is great.
I don't know, it's just like a good vibe, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think that makes it true.
Yeah. Like, are you like 100% like convinced that like God isn't real?
Towards your God, yeah. I think that it's like you. So, I guess when I started this all, I was pretty sure, and now I've just like learned more and more. Oh, he dipped. Never mind. Sure. So I guess what I was gonna say is that what it would take to change my mind on this, like genuinely change my mind on this, you'd have to overcome a lot of arguments. Like there's just so many like horrific verses in the Bible that have no explanation. There's so many contradictions in the Bible that have no explanation. And there's so many scientific inaccuracies in the Bible You just kind of have to overcome all of them. And I don't think that the prospects of that are very good. All right, on to the next one. Hey, thanks so much. Sorry if I'm missing the gifts. I'm just coming back to this. If you sent a gift and I didn't see it, I apologize. But if you're... Hey, what's
Hello?
up? How's it going?
Yo.
Yeah, how old are you?
30.
Yep, and are you driving?
Nah.
Gotcha. What religion?
Christianity.
Gotcha. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God, which does not involve personal experience?
Go outside.
Just go outside? Okay. Yeah, I saw a lot of things. It was a lovely day. Not much God to be seen, though.
Did you look outside?
Yeah, I went outside, yeah. It's a lovely day. It was mostly dark, but, you know, it's getting a bit warmer, which is nice.
Did you see some trees?
Yeah, there are trees out there, yeah.
All right, brother.
Is that the argument? Is that it?
Yeah, you go ahead and tell me how everything got here. Go ahead, make it make sense.
So which, when you say everything got here, are you asking, like, how did the universe get here? Are you asking, like, how did the trees specifically get here? Are you asking, like, how did life start? Like, what specifically are you asking for?
We can go whatever, the sky. Tell me how everything got here. Go touch some grass, bro. And tell me, go look at some mountains. Go to California. Go to Colorado. Look at all those beautiful mountains.
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado. Lived there for 18 years. I guess 19 if you count the year I took after college to find a job. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen the mountains. I love the mountains. Why does that mean that God is real?
Creation, bro.
What's the evidence that God made these?
Read the Bible.
What's the evidence that the Bible is true?
You and me.
Why? Was the Bible not true before you and me?
Bro, life is just an amazing thing, like, and you don't see it. Like you're so blinded, brother. How do you have glasses and cannot see?
Well, first of all, the glasses are fake. Second of all, I mean, life has plenty of flaws. Like the design of life specifically is like extremely flawed. So, for example, why would God give us the anatomy to get cancer? Why wouldn't God give us an anatomy that makes cancer impossible?
It's life, my boy. It happens, you know. It's reality, real thing.
Why wouldn't He make it different?
What do you mean? You're not God. Why are you questioning a God? You can't question a God.
God made it in a way such that kids get cancer.
You don't have the power to question God, though.
I do. I'm doing it right now.
No,
Clearly, I do have the power. I'm doing it right now.
No, you're just powerless. You can't question the artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can.
You can't question the artist.
Absolutely, you can.
No, you can't.
I just did.
Oh, you can't.
I just did.
It doesn't work like that.
I already did it. It's already done. Too late.
What makes you think you creating the world when you will make it better? What makes you think you can do what God can do?
Because if I created the world, kids wouldn't have cancer.
But that's you, brother. You're not God.
Exactly. It's because I'm built different. In parentheses, better.
You will have never had the power to be God.
Yeah, but if I was, I would have made things better.
See, that's what life is about. Even going to the stories, they always question God. Go read some Bible stories, bro.
Yeah,
you see, they always question God.
Yeah, let's read one.
You're the example. You're the example. This is how blinded people are. You're the example of why.
Well, first of all, I'm not blind. Again, my glasses are fake. I have excellent vision.
Yes.
But second of all, let's read some Bible stories. Let's talk about like the Amalekites when God ordered the slaughter of all of them, including the infants. Why would God do something like that?
How can you go off of these stories if you don't even believe? It doesn't make sense. You can't go to a book
because you believe.
Like, no. It doesn't make sense. You can't go to a book and try to bring a story to my face saying, why would God do this if you don't even believe? You can't do that.
But you believe.
Yeah, but so you can't do that because you don't have the power to believe why God would do that. So it doesn't make sense.
So you can do that. So the argument's quite simple. The inference rule is something called modus tollens, which is that like if X is true, then Y is true. Y is not true, therefore X is not true. So the argument, let's plug things in for the terms. If God is real and all good. Wait, fuck. What would the modus tollens be? No, it would just be a classic problem of evil. So it wouldn't be a modus tollens at all. What it would be if God exists and he is all good and all powerful, then he would not command the slaughter of the Amalekite infants. But according to your Bible, he does command the slaughter of the Amalekite infants. Therefore, we can conclude that a God who is all good and all powerful doesn't exist.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense in your story because you don't have the power to see or believe.
Does it make sense to you?
And
Does it make sense to you?
Yes, because I'm a believer.
Gotcha. So explain how
I believe
the slaughter of infants makes sense.
Every situation God makes, he makes it for his glory at the end of the day.
How does slaughtering infants bring God glory?
What do you mean? What do you mean? We can say the same thing about Hitler. Why did that happen?
But yeah, that was like quite bad, right? It was really bad.
Yeah, but it brought glory to the situation. Now that we don't have to deal with that.
I don't think so.
What do you mean? We don't deal with Hitler.
I think in fact the Holocaust was bad.
It was, but it turns out for a good glory story that we learned, hey, look, this is not what we need to do.
I think we already knew. I think we already knew that genocide was bad.
What?
I think we already knew that genocide was bad.
What makes you think we knew?
Just because killing has always been understood to be like a pretty bad thing. It's been outlawed in like basically every society.
Listen,
at least the killing of specific groups. And then the Holocaust was like the mass killing. So we already knew that this would be bad. So doing it like 6 million times is just going to be like super bad. So we already knew.
No, but
we didn't need genocide to know that genocide was bad.
It was a big part of the history that brought us together. You know what I'm saying? It brought a lot of people together. Yes, the outcome was bad, but it brought a lot of nations together, a lot of people together. It brought us together. It sucks, yes, but it did. The greater cause came out to be good because we realized, hey, this is wrong, and we came together as many countries to fight against this.
Would you rather live in a world that had a Holocaust or a world that did not have a Holocaust?
I can't never answer that question.
You can't answer.
I can't never answer that question.
You can't answer.
Happened though. Like you want me to play fake games. Like you want me to think about fake stuff.
You play fake games every Sunday.
No, you're playing.
Come on,
fake
engage
games.
with it.
You're just playing fake games. You're saying, okay, well, if I was this or if I did this, I would do. That's just fake. You're just bringing up fake stories. You're being no different than what I am if I'm a Christian, and I'm bringing up some fake stories. So we're just going in circles.
Concession? Concession?
Yeah.
So it's fake?
What?
So the stories are fake?
No, the stuff you're doing is fake. Because
you said it's just like when you bring up Bible verses,
your main words
it's fake.
is if. You said if. You keep saying if I was this, if I was that, if I would do this, if. Everything's if.
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as if. It is how it is. So stop using if and stop playing games.
Well, there is such thing as if. It's a word that we understand.
You're playing games because if it's not going to happen, you're not going to be God. You're never going to come close to God.
It's like hypothetical, right?
Over. We can't do that.
So okay, wait. If you didn't eat breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
What?
If you didn't eat breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
I don't know. I don't know what that. What does
Maybe
that have to do
maybe
with-
hungry.
I don't know what that has. What are you hungry for God?
No, I'm just asking you if you didn't eat
Is
breakfast
this why you're
this
asking
morning.
this question? Are you
if
hungry
you,
for God?
if you didn't if you if you didn't eat
Are you hungry
breakfast
for
this
God?
morning-
Are you hungry for God? Talk to me. I can feed you some God.
Num, tasty God? If you didn't eat breakfast this morning, how would you feel?
What do you mean?
Which part of that
I
question
didn't
is
eat
hard?
breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll get hungry later.
So we can engage with hypotheticals.
No, there you go. See, you're playing mind games. There you go.
Yeah,
There
I'm already in your head.
Using
I'm,
one of your
I'm-
mind
I'm,
tricks.
I'm penetrated
a
deep
magician.
into your psychology.
You're a magician. That's what you are.
Yeah, abracadabra.
You're playing with all these people. You're doing these scenarios that has nothing to do with religion. You can't take cereal and religion or being hungry. You can't do that. What does that have to do with anything?
The fuck? You brought this up.
What are you talking about?
You
said if I
brought.
were
Oh
hungry.
my god.
I'm not
You
being
brought
hungry.
up being hungry for God.
No,
you brought that. That's
Bro,
you
just
brought that
actually-
up. That's you. You said that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
And I
You just
understand.
asked-
Like
you
you've
said,
gotten
what would you
slammed in this conversation.
No,
You're probably
Ian, you said, what
concussed.
would-
I get it.
Ian,
but
you
like,
said,
damn,
what would I
lock
do
in,
if I didn't
scumbag.
eat? You said, what would I do if I didn't eat this morning?
Yeah. What would you do? How would
Exactly. So you
feel?
brought it up, buddy.
You brought up being like hungry for religion specifically.
You're funny.
I'm just
You're
asking
funny.
you.
I
I'm
like
just
you, though.
asking you, but that's cool. So we got
Hey,
we
but look,
engaged with
I
one
tell you this,
hypothetical,
though.
but not another. That's fine.
I think deep down you do believe. Like you just
Okay. I think deep down I
It's
don't
something-
believe.
it's something fighting you. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little bit of something fighting you. I don't know what
I
it
don't
is.
think so. Well, deep down I think you don't believe.
No, you do believe, brother. Why are you playing?
Nah, you don't believe. Why are you playing?
You playing games? Come on,
You're
man.
playing games. Why are you playing games? Deep
That's
down
what,
you don't
that's what
believe.
y'all hosts
Come on.
do. Yeah, play games with people.
Yeah, you're just playing games. You don't believe. You're just wasting my time up here.
Why would I waste your time?
Because you don't believe in God, but you want to pretend like you do. Deep down.
I do believe in God.
Oh yeah, and I don't believe in God, yeah.
So what do you want me to do to prove it?
Evidence would be cool if you have any evidence that God
I
is
just gave
real.
you evidence. You just went outside. You said you lived in Colorado.
Yeah, I went out. Well,
Who-
I don't live in Colorado anymore, but I went
Yo.
outside to saw the trees.
Yo, how in the world go outside?
Yeah, I
Ian.
already did this. Yeah.
Ian, go outside and tell me how some trees just grew right there.
So they started as a seed, or I think a sapling, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. the
Okay,
life
so how
cycle.
did that sapling get there, Ian?
So the sapling came from
You
another
playing,
tree.
Ian? You
Do you want the
playing?
explanation? It came from another tree. That's so. For example, if you take like apples, apples have apple seeds. They're meant to be like spread around, and then if you plant the apple seed, then the apple tree grows.
Ian.
Taylor,
You said you lived in Colorado, right?
not anymore. I used to, yeah. I love.
So how
Colorado.
did those mountains get there?
Through plate tectonics,
What? Okay, so how did the plate tectonics get there?
through the laws of physics.
The what?
The laws of physics.
Who made the laws of physics?
Who invented them? The laws of
Who?
physics just describe the properties that reality
Who?
has.
Ian, who made it?
Who made
Stop
it?
playing.
Who made the laws of physics?
Yeah, who made it?
So at the base fundamental brute level, things have properties. I'm going to take properties to be brute, and then the laws of physics attempt to describe these properties.
So you would rather believe that story than having a creator?
Yeah, I'd rather believe that than
Come on, Ian.
thinking that God incarnated as his own son to lift the curse that was set upon us by him after a woman made from a rib was coerced by a talking snake to eat from a magic tree. Yeah, I'd rather believe that. Yeah.
Ian, you playing, man. You playing.
I'm not. I'm
Do you
serious.
believe in
I'm very serious.
You believe in evolution?
Yeah. Cue fake laughter. Oh my god, how did I fucking know?
Ian, come on, man. You believe in evolution, but not a man that came and died for your sins?
Yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding? Yeah, easy. Yeah, like easily, like 10 times out of 10. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is I don't know, man. It's wild. You just believe something is here.
Yeah.
Hey, you're playing with me, man. Okay. I know you believe. I know you believe. You believe deep down.
I don't.
You're trolling, man.
Why would God let kids die of cancer?
Didn't we just go over this?
No.
See, you don't listen to me. This is exactly what I'm talking about, yeah.
I'm just asking you, why would God let kids die of cancer?
It's not God, bro. It's not God.
So if you had a button,
it's life, bro. It's life. It's life.
Could we have life without cancer?
We have to have rules and laws in life. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So
and to the ultimate goal, then we'll get a new earth, new heaven. You feel me? So stop overthinking it, Ian.
I think, if anything, you're underthinking it. Maybe we could think a little bit deeper about it. So why wouldn't God?
People so scared to believe? Like, why is it so hard to believe in
because
God?
Because I'm just so ashamed of my homosexual tendencies.
Why?
So why would God?
Why is it so hard to believe in God?
Why would God include in the rule set that kids can get cancer?
What do you mean, bro? It's part of life, Satan.
Sure. Wait. So what about the dinosaurs that had cancer?
You gotta have evil and good.
So what about the dinosaurs that had cancer?
Don't ask me about no dinosaurs. I don't know nothing about no dinosaurs.
Do you believe in dinosaurs?
Yes, I believe in dinosaurs.
Oh, cool. But do you think that they lived at a different time than humans?
I don't want to talk about Jurassic Park. Now you're getting off of some topic. We were talking about the kids.
I'm getting mixed messages about whether or not you believe in dinosaurs.
Dude, I believe in dinosaurs, bro.
Okay. Do you think they lived at the same time as humans? Do you think Jurassic Park was a documentary?
I don't know. I didn't listen to the story.
Do you think they had like a bunch of dudes with GoPros down there to film Jurassic Park?
Wait, do you believe in dinosaurs?
I think that they existed not at the same time as humans.
How do you know dinosaurs are real then?
Because we have their bones.
You go show me a bone.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, no. I want
no! Don't show me the evidence.
No. Just like you say, I need evidence for God. I'm gonna need you to show me evidence of a bone of a dinosaur.
Yeah, gladly. Yeah.
Go show me.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it's like super easy. Yeah.
Don't Google it. I want to see it in your hand. Hold the bone.
The fuck? You want me to have a dinosaur bone with me?
Yeah, prove to me that a dinosaur.
Can you show me the God with you? Can you show me God in your hand?
It's the same thing. You can't show me the bone.
I can show you. I'm more than happy to show you.
I can't show you the God, but you can't show me the bone.
I can show you the bone.
Show me it's real. That I can go touch it right now.
If you want to go touch it, well, first of all, they're not going to let you fucking touch the dinosaur bones. But if you wanted to go get like a paleontology degree, they'd probably let you. Real dinosaur bone.
You ain't playing games, man. Stay off the Google.
Yeah, we got.
Stay off the Google. Lay off
this
the
guy.
Google.
Wait, you see this guy?
Lay off the Google.
Yo, look at that guy.
Lay off the Google.
Let's look at that dinosaur.
See, you're always trying to cheat your way out, brother.
I'm just showing you the pic. I'm showing you the evidence.
Where's my pot? Because I'm cooking you right now.
Do you actually think you're doing well?
Bro, you Google the dinosaur of bones. I said, go get me some bones of a dinosaur.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to be able to get you dinosaur bones physically in my hands, but
hold on,
we
let me
have
get
lots
you some
of
grease.
evidence for them. If you want to go down to your local, museum, they probably have some there.
You're getting fried right now.
Do you actually think you're doing well in the discussion?
Because you're not proving to me there's dinosaur bones. Just like
I just did. I just gave you the evidence. I just said to give you the source.
You use Google.
Yeah, that's how you get the source. Yeah.
Okay, I can go Google guy right now.
Oh yeah, and what's the evidence that they would provide? Yeah, what's the evidence?
What's the evidence of that dinosaur bone being real? What are you talking about, bro?
Otherwise, you'd have to accept a conspiracy theory, which is going to fail for like lots of theoretical reasons. We have like good on-face reason to not believe conspiracy theories, especially one that would involve like the entire field of paleontology. This would mean that you would have, I don't know, like probably like 1 million people in on a conspiracy, and not one single person has ever slipped in all of human history about the existence of dinosaurs, which is like supremely unlikely. Therefore, I'm just going to believe the more likely explanation, which is that paleontologists study dinosaur bones, which are real.
So it's hard for you to believe in God, but it's easy for you to believe in that.
Yeah, I find the field of paleontology to be better, right? It's like replicable.
Do you believe in aliens?
What do you mean? Like, is there life elsewhere in the universe? Probably.
Do you believe in aliens? That's a
Like,
yes or no.
do I think that they've like visited here? No, I don't.
It's a yes or no, Ian.
So are you asking, do they exist somewhere in the universe, or have they visited?
You believe in aliens?
I need clarification on the question. So are you asking, do I believe aliens have visited the Earth? Or are you asking, do aliens exist somewhere in the universe?
Do aliens exist? Yes or no, Ian?
Yeah, I believe that aliens probably exist somewhere in the universe. It's statistically
You
likely.
believe in aliens?
Yeah, it's statistically likely that
God.
some planet,
You haven't seen the alien.
in some planet far away from here, it's like statistically
bro.
likely that at least one
Ian.
planet has life.
Ian. What kind of aliens do you believe in, bro? Talk me, how do these aliens look, please?
Oh, I'm just saying that, like, given what we know that life is possible on specific worlds, it then just becomes statistically likely that on some other world among like the, I don't know, fucking 16 septillion worlds, that it's probably likely that life evolved there as well.
Are they green?
I have no idea. I'm just saying that I think it's like statistically plausible that aliens or that like life forms have evolved at
Is it
some
possible for
place
God?
in the universe.
Is it possible for God?
Not your God, because there's contradictions, and contradictions are.
So what God is it possible for then?
I would say that there's like some that are at least a bit more likely. For example, like the deist God could be probably more likely, although I'd still take issue with that. But your God, like, super for sure doesn't exist.
Hey, so yo, Ian, so do me a favor, bro.
Yeah.
Just put the Christian guy, you know what I'm saying? Don't put God isn't real, because you do believe in some type of God, right?
Oh, no, I don't.
You just said.
I think that some are more likely than others. I don't think any of them are real. So your God gets like a big fucking like goose egg in terms of probability, whereas like maybe like a deist God, maybe like the aesthetic deist God might get like a 0.00000 etc. 1.
You know what? I respect you though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be hard on you today, but I know deep down in your heart,
very kind of you.
Your stomach, you believe, you have a gut feeling that he's real.
No, I don't.
You will. You'll come back.
Yeah. So why hasn't God revealed himself to me?
What do you mean? Because you haven't had the power to see him.
And how do I get the power to see him?
Have a connection. Have a relationship.
So wait, I'm so sorry. How do I get the power to see him?
You gotta open up. Open up.
What does that mean?
Go. Look. This is what you do. Stay off TikTok for a month. Go soak the word up. Go read some stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I just got off of a 3-month hiatus. This is my first stream in 3 months. So I got off for 3 months. And now I believe in God even less.
See, I caught you. You see what I'm saying? That's how you know God's speaking to me, and I'm not playing.
Because I believe God. You
just
God
went
even
on a
less.
you just went on a break, bro.
Yeah, the opposite of what you said.
Why would I say that? Why would I say that?
Why would you say that? Probably because you want me to get off the app. Yeah, wait. This is like the opposite of what you said.
You playing.
I
You
don't
got
know
the
why
strength
you're giving a victory speech right now. You're getting
I'm
slammed.
not. I'm just saying it's the same concept. I just told you that, and you
You
just
said the
literally just told me
opposite.
you
You said
did
that I should take a break. I told
Okay,
you that
but
I've
you
already
already did
taken a
it.
break.
So
Yeah,
it was
wait,
the-
which
it was
is
the right-
evidence against your claim because you're
No,
saying that
it-
if I take a break, then I will find God. But I already took a break and I didn't
No,
find
no,
God.
no. Go
So
take a
we
real-
have
no,
a
listen.
pretty massive data point that would suggest that taking a break actually won't lead me closer to God.
I love you, Ian.
No, you don't. Don't say that.
You know, I'm not even mad at you. I don't hate you. I don't hate none of your fans.
I don't think my fans would feel the same.
You're a W, and I appreciate you doing what you're doing. But I said what I said. You know what you got to do. I told you. You know what you got to do. You got to lock in. Get back.
Yeah, I gotta find someone who can answer like basic objections, probably.
What do you want me to answer, Ian?
Yeah, I just wanted you to give the explanation for why God lets kids die of cancer.
I just told you it's reality, it's life.
Yeah, why wouldn't God make life different?
What do you mean? Because of Satan, a fallen angel, he messed it up.
So the
What?
reason why people get cancer is because of the innate structure of our DNA.
Same, bro.
Why wouldn't
It's-
God just structure it different?
But Ian, see, there you go. You're trying to put your mind as God, but you can't. You don't.
So
you can't.
yeah, that's the thing that you're not answering.
What's up, Ian?
Yeah, like why wouldn't God structure our anatomy in such a way where we don't get cancer?
Because that's what you would do. That's not what he would do.
Yeah, why would God
doesn't make
do this
sense.
instead of what I would do?
It doesn't make sense. You're not God, though. You can't question a God.
Okay, how do you know that God isn't deceiving you about everything in the world for reasons that are beyond your understanding?
Because he talks to me every day.
Yeah, and so how do you know that he isn't just deceiving you about talking to you?
Because I know my signs. The signs actually.
Yeah, how do you know that he's not deceiving you about the signs for reasons that are higher than your
Because the
understanding?
message, his word, the things that happens in my life don't line up to.
How do you know that all of your life isn't an illusion that he's created for reasons that are higher than your understanding?
Hey, listen, Ian.
He has no fucking idea.
Don't do that.
Oh no, I've been vatted.
Hey, look, I love you, bro, and be safe.
Dude's epistemic foundation crumbled around him, and all he could muster up was a single, "Dude, I love you, bro." All right, thanks for coming on. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. Make sure, if you're in that guest request box, that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you got that argument which does not involve personal experience. Thanks. It's great to see everyone. Let's go to the very next one. Nah, that's cap. Come on, don't lie to me. You gotta be 18 or older, like really 18 or older.
R3 ones. And then I tried one last game too.
That's cool. Did you like it?
They're pretty good.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. I love pretty good things.
I think I tried the one that healed your teammates or whatnot.
Yeah, it's a good
They
one.
were like near you.
Yeah. I love that one.
Let's go. You forgot to pick them up.
Yeah, you did. You should get on that. You should pick them up.
Oh my god, that was so corny.
Sage's Heaven, it's a B-side
okay.
push.
Alright.
Alright, let's go to the next one. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, share it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that
And
you're
your ass cheeks look like George Washington's wig, you nasty ass bitch. Let me tell y'all that mask down some motherfucking word. When you shake that like a I can't take this shit serious.
Yeah, me neither. That was a great start. How old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2007.
What month?
August.
Okay. Come back when you're actually that age. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Yeah, what religion?
Christianity.
Gotcha. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God, which does not involve personal experience?
Yeah, so Ian, I got you, man. So can you think of God right now? Can you think of the perfect being right now?
Ooh, are we gonna get an ontological argument? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so you can think about that, but like, can you imagine a new color? No, so you can't imagine that, but you can imagine the most perfect being in the universe. So, I mean, clearly it's real, Ian.
Okay. Can you imagine Santa Claus?
Yeah.
So clearly he's real.
But that's not the most perfect being in the universe.
Could you imagine the most perfect Santa Claus in the universe?
Ian, I'm fucking with you. I'm actually an atheist.
Based. All right, on to the next one. Make sure you double tap it on that screen if you're in that guest request box. Make sure that you're 18 or older, that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you got an argument which does not involve personal experience.
Yo.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Going good.
Yeah, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2007.
What month?
January.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking. Gosh. What's up, Jimmy? How's it going? How old are you?
22.
Yep. What religion?
Christian.
Gotcha. What's your strongest argument for the existence of God, which does not involve personal experience?
The transcendental argument.
The transcendental argument?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, let's hear it. What's the argument?
Yeah, so God is a necessary precondition for knowledge. Knowledge, therefore, God.
Sure. So what's the argument for premise one, that God is the necessary precondition for knowledge?
I can provide a disjunctive, so either
let's hear
he
it.
is or he isn't. Yeah, so he is or he isn't. He is not the necessary precondition, therefore he is.
Gotcha. So God is the necessary precondition because he's not the necessary precondition.
No, A and not A aren't identical in disjunctive syllogisms.
A and not A. That's just not true, right? So if the ball is not blue, then the ball is blue.
No, that's what? How is that even analogous?
Yeah, so something not that just reduces to is.
No, it's not identical.
If something is not that thing, then it is that thing.
Can you show me any logic book that says in a proposition and a disjunctive syllogism, the negation of so not A is going to be identical to A?
Yep, gotcha. Okay, so this is an intro to non-classical logic by Graham Priest. Here in, I don't know how I'm going to show you this, but on page 7, we have it that not A reduces to A.
Yeah, just because it reduces to it, I understand in the proposition that you're going to be left with the affirmative of the proposition, but they're not identical in the actual argument. So,
wait, I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so like they're not going to be identical just because the not A reduces to A, because it's going to deduce to that. But they're not identical in the proposition itself.
No, they are. So not A is equivalent to A. It is materially identical to A. So
you're saying.
So let's say the ball is blue is the same as saying the ball is not blue. These are the same thing.
No, not in the disjunctive. It's not.
It absolutely is.
So
Which logic? So can you cite me like a logician who would hold that when you do it in a disjunctive syllogism that suddenly A is different than not A?
Yeah, the Hurley book.
What's the name of this book?
It's just called Introduction to Logic by Patrick J. Hurley.
Introduction to Logic by Patrick J. Hurley. Concise introduction to Logic. What page? Oh, yeah, fuck yeah. The PDF available.
I'm not sure what page, actually.
Yeah. All right, well, I have the PDF pulled up right here. Let's go through it. We got disjunctive. All right, let's go through it. So having says either or statement. Yep. Yep. Greater depth. Just define the following terms. Yep. Disjunctive syllogism in a list. In another list. In another list, and then another list. Since the disjunctive premise is false. Or at least probably false in the argument is typically unsound. Yep. Doesn't say anything about that. Maybe double negation would be more, because there's like 87 results. Double negation. Oh no! The book agrees with me.
Yeah. So what does it say?
Yeah, it literally says, "Oh fuck! Why would you do this?" Oh no!
Yeah, so
why would you?
what does it say?
Oh no! So we're on page 395. Anyone who wants to can look this up. Page 395. P is logically equivalent to not P double negation.
I already said in the proposition it's going to be deduced to A, but the reasons, because what each variable is going to pick out, the actual designation and the proposition itself isn't identical to not A. So the reasons that it is A aren't identical to the reasons that it's not A. If that makes sense.
So that's like obviously not true, but I guess to make headway, let's say, so what's the argument for why God is not the necessary precondition for knowledge?
Because if he's not the necessary precondition, it's impossible to give an alternative.
What's the argument for that?
The argument is what I just gave you. So it is a true disjunctive that he either is or he isn't.
So
right?
why is it not possible to give an alternative?
Because it'll lead to either contradiction or the impossibility of knowledge itself, or the impossibility of justification.
What's the argument for that?
Yeah, so do you want to provide your worldview?
So
no?
did everyone see like the burden shift that just took place?
How's it a burden shift?
Because you couldn't substantiate that an alternative isn't possible, so you instead said...
I did substantiate it.
So what's the syllogism that concludes with, therefore, it's impossible to give an alternative?
Because there's no epistemic school of thought that exists on the face of the earth that can give or provide the necessary preconditions for knowledge.
What's the argument for that? What's the evidence for any of that?
It doesn't exist. Like, even me giving you an argument, I would have to grant you knowledge, which I don't want to do, which is why I'm asking you in order to participate in the dialogue.
What's the argument?
In order to participate in the dialogue, I have to grant you knowledge, but you don't have any justification for knowledge.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I'll bite. Yeah, whatever. As long as we all acknowledge that the burden has been shifted. I'll ground knowledge just in logic, and I'll ground logic in conceptual structuralism.
Okay, so do you have to have knowledge of these concepts?
Of which concepts?
You just said you're going to just ground knowledge in conceptualization, right?
In conceptual structuralism.
Okay, so the actual conceptual structures themselves, do you have to have knowledge of them?
So the structures exist, and then we conceptualize these various things. So all it means so all the meanings that exist, all of this meaning is going to be indexed to a position in a structure. So for example, part of what it means to be blue is that you're not all of the things that aren't blue. So the meaning that a thing takes on is based on its like structural oppositions, that what it means for something to be like a specific way is that it's not like all of the other ways. So that's how I ground logic.
Yeah, but like that doesn't give you any justification for
the
preconditions of knowledge.
Sure it does.
Doesn't.
Yeah, because then we can just like logically deduce things.
Yeah, but you need knowledge of the logic itself, but you just said that the logic is going to be grounded in these conceptual structures. Then I asked you, how do you have knowledge of the conceptual structures? And all you're saying is that, well, these structures, the way things are structured is going to be based on it not being structured any other way, but you have to have knowledge that it's not constructed any other way.
The question itself already presupposes specific things like the category of not, and based on the category of not and the category of is, then we can just necessarily deduce the rest.
Yeah, so the concept of not and is, these are also based in these conceptual structures?
Yeah, it's just going to be based on concepts. The questions that you're asking are already presupposing specific concepts. From these concepts, we can deduce to the existence of logic. And then from logic, we can deduce to the existence of, or to the non-existence of God pretty easily.
Yeah, so what's the justification for the structures themselves?
What do you mean by justification?
How do you have true justified belief of the structures themselves?
They're presupposed in the question that you asked.
Yeah, they're presupposed. I can presuppose them because I can provide a justification. But
oh wait, I'm sorry. What's your justification for them?
God.
And what's the justification for God?
Paradigm. So I'm a holist, so I believe that justification comes from like the interconnectedness of the beliefs themselves and how they're consistent within the framework.
Oh, sure. Oh, wait, fine. Oh, that's so much easier. What the fuck? I don't know why you would ever argue for that. That makes my job like completely 100% easy because I can just now say, well, I believe in a metaphysical principle that provides like intelligibility and logic and like all of the other stuff, and the metaphysical principle is ungrounded and it's self-consistent. So under your own paradigm, it's fine.
Yeah, but you can't have that and be consistent unless you just steal my entire metaphysics and my entire.
No, because I can just say that the metaphysical principle doesn't have a mind.
Yeah, so if it doesn't have a mind, then it can't provide you justification for these mental constructs.
What's the argument for that?
That you can't get to a conceptual framework from something that isn't a mind. That doesn't even.
What's the argument for that?
What's a concept? You just said concepts.
Did we see the burden shift?
You already said. I'm showing you the contradiction. You just said concepts were existent in the mind, and then you said these concepts are. The justification for these concepts is going to be grounded in something that's not a mind. So how can concepts be in the mind?
So the mind
creates
the mind creates concepts. Concepts don't exist outside of the mind. The mind, so the brain specifically takes inputs of specific phenomena and then categorizes all of these things into specific concepts. It turns percepts into concepts.
Yeah, but you just said these concepts themselves is going to be contingent on some metaphysics that lacks a mind. So how do concepts exist in a mind and not in a mind?
No. So I'm saying that the concepts themselves arise only in minds. So specific things create percepts, and then these percepts are turned into concepts. So we perceive specific things, and then our brain categorizes things and turns the perception into concepts.
So the concepts are grounded in the perceptions themselves?
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, like none of these grounding relations matter insofar as God is ungrounded. So even if all these things were completely ungrounded, it would be fine because something being ungrounded isn't a problem on your worldview.
No. So I don't know what you mean by grounding. If you mean some metaphysical grounding or epistemic, epistemically speaking, God.
I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what epistemic grounding is. Typically, grounding is ontological.
Justification. Yeah, I'm not talking about an ontological grounding because obviously nothing is going to ground God if He is literally the source of ontology itself. But
wait, so what was your what epistemic justification led you to God?
What led me to God?
Yeah, what's your epistemic justification for God?
Yeah, so it's going to be the entire belief system itself. So like my beliefs are going to be contingent upon my other beliefs. So
then what's the epistemic justification for your beliefs?
Yeah, so since I'm an epistemic holist, I believe belief or justification for beliefs come from how.
What's your justification for epistemic holism?
It's just going to be the system itself. I don't have a problem with circularity.
So your belief system is circular. Is that correct?
All belief systems are circular.
I don't think so. Not mine. What's the circle in mine?
I just told you what the circle was.
Yeah, what's the circle? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm explaining. You just said these concepts are going to be based or grounded in these precepts, and then the precepts, your understanding of the precepts is going to be grounded in the concepts themselves.
That's not what I said.
No knowledge. You have, I'm reducing your position because you have no knowledge.
Well, wait. So you're straw manning my position. So there's no circle in my position unless you straw man it. So how about I get clear on what I actually believe instead of just having you straw man me?
Okay, go ahead.
So these percepts do not necessarily require a concept for the first formation of concepts. After you formed a concept, it interacts with itself in a dynamical system, but there's no circularity there. It's just things are reacting to the system that they're already in.
What do you mean reacting to the system? How does that
Sure.
make sense?
So in dynamical systems, we take the endpoint of one function as the starting point of the next.
Yeah, this sounds like infinite regress.
It's not infinite regress. It's just a dynamical system.
You just saying it's not infinite regress doesn't make it not infinite regress.
It's like it's a feedback loop is a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah, so infinite regress.
It's not
Or
infinite regress.
if it's
Wait, do you think feedback loops are infinite regress?
Is a loop circular?
Is a loop circular? But that's not going to be like a circular grounding or a circular justification.
Yeah, you're conflating circularity with epistemic bootstrapping.
What do you mean by epistemic bootstrapping? I think his mom came.
My bad. I kind of didn't hear you.
That's fine. I guess I'd love to run like the transcendental argument for the non-existence of God. So premise one, if arguments exist, then God does not. Wait. So you've already presupposed the existence of arguments, which by presupposing the existence of arguments, you've already presupposed the non-existence of God. If arguments exist, then God doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm not granting
arguments
you.
exist.
If I can presuppose that and provide justification for it. Just because something's
so I'll
doesn't
give you
mean
more premises.
Just because something's presupposed doesn't mean it's like justification exempt or something. But
yeah, and I'm telling you
it's a
that
feedback loop.
one of the inferences from the existence of arguments is that God doesn't exist.
You just said your beliefs were based on.
Wait, sir, you've presupposed arguments. You're presupposing arguments. So how about I give you the reason why
you just
presupposing
arguments? Your worldview is circular.
The existence. Wait, no, I didn't.
You just said it's a feedback loop.
That's not the same as being circular. Wait, so circular would be so X is because of Y and Y is because of X. Where is the X is because of Y and the Y is because of X? What's X and Y in my worldview?
Yeah, this is going to be some interdependence.
Wait. I want no. I want specifically. What is the X and what is the Y in my worldview? Go ahead.
What is the X and Y for what? In what case?
So in your worldview, for example, it would be epistemic holism is true because epistemic holism is true because epistemic holism is true. That's the circle in your worldview. What's the circle in mine?
No. So my worldview is not epistemic holism is true because epistemic holism is true.
Sure. So then what's the justification for epistemic holism? Go ahead.
So yeah. So I'm arguing for my entire paradigm of Christianity as a whole. Not
wait, but your paradigm operates under holism. What's the argument for holism?
Not just a specific concept or epistemic school of thought of holism itself. Because prior to Quine coming up with this concept, I guess what? Christianity still existed. So even if the style of justification for holism is what Christianity basically is, doesn't mean I'm arguing for my epistemic school of thought specifically. I'm arguing for my religion.
But you justified your religion by citing holism. I'm just asking what the argument for holism is.
Yeah, so the argument for my worldview, since I'm a holist in my worldview, because you can be a holist and not be Christian, which
Sure.
in that case, you would still be wrong. Even if you have justification for a belief, you can still be wrong. So again, I'm not arguing for epistemic holism.
Do you believe in it?
Christianity. In a sense that
wait, well,
the
sure.
way
So
my
all we need to do is like
epistemology
draw out the
structured-
circle and then just ask you about like with the justification for holism again. Like we can run this one as many times as you want.
It doesn't make sense. So is there some theory laden, or is it a theory neutral concept of justification? Does that exist?
What do you mean theory neutral?
Meaning, is justification independent of the system itself?
What do you mean independent of? I'm not sure. I'm unfamiliar with the jargon.
Theory of justification is going to be contingent upon the system. So you ask me what the justification is for my system doesn't make any sense, because the theory of justification is going to be contingent upon the system itself.
Oh, that's not
So I'm
necessarily
asking
true,
you,
right?
is there some
Because you can
theory? Is there some theory
propose-
neutral concept of justification? Yes or no?
Well, sure. So there's going to be things that actually don't presuppose any system. For example, you can give like a transcendental argument for foundationalism based on phenomenal conservatism, for example.
Yeah, but you can still critique phenomenal conservatism.
Yeah,
so
what's
I'm
the
not
critique?
talking
Let's hear
about
it.
if you can. You're not a phenomenal conservatist, so it doesn't
I
matter.
am.
So, oh, you are. So, you lied about your theory of justification earlier. Or?
When did I lie about my theory of justification?
Okay, so you just said earlier. So your justification.
I think justification
is just
means
based
lots of
on-
different things in lots of different contexts. I think phenomenal conservatism is a great foundation, though.
Okay, so your justification is just based on the absence of a defeater.
So it's seemings in the absence of defeater gives you some level of justification.
Yeah, like a prima facie like level
Yeah.
of justification.
Yeah, what's the critique? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so like for example, you're just gonna collapse into holism because
He doesn't have
there's
the
no
argument.
justification for a
Yeah, what's the argument?
Yeah, so if you can stop interrupting. So the justification for like something seeming to be the case, seemings can be different amongst subjects. So I'm not sure
Sure,
how something seeming to be the case can get you to justification.
So I'm not sure how this is the case isn't an argument. You said you made the affirmative claim that it collapses into holism. What's the argument
Yeah,
for
I'm
why
going
phenomenal
through.
conservatism
Can you
collapses
go
into
through?
holism?
Can you go through the question so I can provide the reductio?
Yeah.
So how
What is
does
the
seemings-
argument?
How do seeming get one to justification?
Oh, wait, so you're asking me how? So it sounds like you don't actually have an argument. So the rejection of seemings would
okay, so-
require it to seem like your seemings don't give you justification, which would be self-contradictory.
How is that self-contradictory to say
Because if
seemings
it-
don't get justification?
Because you'd be saying that it seems like your seemings don't give you justification.
I didn't say it seems that way.
Oh, so does it seem like your seemings give you justification?
No.
So
It
it
doesn't
seems
seem that way. It just
it
is that way.
doesn't
That
seem
isn't
like
the
your
case.
seemings give you justification. And are you
It doesn't
justified in
seem
believing that?
It doesn't seem that way. Can you? Do you agree? Seemings
And wait,
can
and are
be wrong?
you? Yeah. So in the absence of defeaters is the criteria for phenomenal conservatism.
Right. So if a seeming can be wrong, then I'm not. It's just ad hoc to say, and it's arbitrary to just say, well, without the absence of the defeater, I'm just justified in believing his thing.
That you have
Because
some level
anybody
of
can just-
justification in believing it.
Yeah, anybody can just make the argument that something seems to be the case.
Yes, certainly, yeah. But if you have a reason to think that your seemings are inaccurate, then you're not justified in believing it. But you have some reason to believe that what seems to be the case is the case, yeah.
So are these seemings going to be conceptually structured, as you said earlier?
What do you mean? Are the seemings... No, the seemings are phenomenal.
So you're going to interpret a phenomenon based on a concept, though. So I don't know, like seeming, like even sense data itself doesn't give you like raw information. It's like you're going to interpret the sense data through some given concept.
Yeah, and you're
So the
justified in
concept itself
believing...
is how you interpret the phenomenon, correct?
So concepts come just from your percepts. So concepts have nothing to do
That's circular.
with seeming.
So you're saying the concepts come from the
What's the
percept, but
circle?
you interpret the percepts through the concepts. That's a
Not
circle.
necessarily. because
How is it not necessary?
your founding of the concepts just comes from the percept. So for example, you can acquire a new concept
That's circular.
through acquiring new concepts is circular.
That's circular.
What's the
So
circle
you
in
saying-
acquiring
you
new
saying-
concept?
you saying
wait,
these
hold on. Wait,
concepts-
let's actually get very specific on this.
Yeah, I'm
let's
getting
say,
specific.
wait,
I'm
hold
going
on,
to
hold
provide
on,
the reductio for your
hold on,
position.
hold on. Let's say that you're in a room is entirely red. Then you step outside and you see the sky is blue. From your perception of the sky being blue, you now have the concept blue in your mind. What's the circle?
Yeah, so again, you're going to still interpret this
What's
data
the
through
circle?
a concept. I'm literally telling you.
Just give
So
with
when you're-
so
when
X
you're using
because X. What's the
when
circle?
you're interpreting raw sense data, you're going to interpret the sense data through an already preconceived
In the
concept.
example I gave
So
you,
the
what's the
concept
circle?
itself. What was the example again?
You didn't even fucking listen.
So say it again.
Yeah, sure. So you grow up in a red room, you step outside the red room, you see the blue sky, your percept turns into the concept blue. What's the circle?
Yeah, so how do you know it's blue without knowing what blue is already?
Doesn't matter. You create the concept of blue, even if you want
It
to call
doesn't
it
matter.
like
That's
you can
just
call it
arbitrary. What are you talking about?
whatever you want.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
Wait, and I'm sorry. Do you take the label blue as like objectively signifying something?
I mean, all objective I take to mean in this case is just that it picks out some phenomenon in the external world. So yes, it's objective in that sense.
And who would ever use objective in that sense?
I'm
when
using it
talking
in
about-
that way right now.
Gotcha, cool. So that's not the way I'm using it.
Okay, so
what I'm referring to specifically is that you can call it whatever you want. There's like nothing that necessarily dictates that blue needs to be assigned to this color. You can flip the labels around, although it might make communication weird. But what matters, like the name that you assign to something is irrelevant to the concept itself. So in terms of the concept itself,
yeah,
what's
but
the
the name is going to
circularity?
pick out the concept.
Wait, so
even-
you can form a concept without even having a name at all.
I'm not sure how you would even do that, like how that would be possible, because then you can't even convey the concept. Like it would just be impossible to
It
predicate
like
of an
literally
object.
doesn't matter.
How does that not matter? To
So
not
so
predicate
first
an
of
object?
all, you can convey the concept, right? Like you
How
can
can you convey the concept
point at
without
the
language?
sky. You can point at the sky and say that.
Yeah,
color.
but even pointing is a language. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Cool.
So I just said
Yeah,
you
like
can't do
I don't
that
know what your
language,
point
and
is,
you
but
just said,
I think
just said you
what
need
we're all
language.
I think what we're all
I
still
just said you
dying
need
for.
language.
I think
just
what
said
we're
you
all
need language.
dying for.
So if you're
What's
gonna
the
keep interrupting me,
circle?
you're melting right now. So I just said.
Wait, I don't
you
know
can't
why you're giving a
convey
victory speech. You're
concept.
getting
You
slammed
can't
right now.
You can't convey a
Buddy,
concept without language.
what's the
And you just said,
circle?
well, you can point to it. Well, pointing is still language.
He doesn't have the circle.
I'm not sure how you're.
Yeah,
I just told you the
so
circle.
it might be
You're
language,
just
but
going
it's not a
to-
name.
You're going to interpret your sense data from an external or from an internal concept already. There is no such thing as raw sense data. So you just admitted earlier.
I didn't say that there was such
you just
thing as raw
admitted-
sense data. What's the
Okay,
circle?
can I keep talking?
Are you
So
going to answer
you just
the question?
said earlier, bro.
Are you going to
You
answer the
just
question?
said you just said earlier that your concepts are going to come from the percepts, but you're going to interpret the percepts with this concept.
I didn't say
That's
that.
a circle.
I didn't
That's
say
what your
that.
position leads to. How
I
else
didn't.
can you
Oh wait.
interpret-
So what's
how else do you
what
interpret a
entails that in my
percept?
position? Go ahead.
How do you interpret a percept?
How do you interpret a percept? I'm sorry. Do you take a question to be an argument?
I'm showing you your
Is
position.
a,
You're
wait. I'm sorry.
inconsistent.
Do you take a
demonstration.
question to
It's a
be an
demonstration.
argument?
It's a
So, wait, so
demonstration.
what's the premise in the,
The question
argument?
is the demonstration.
How about you just give the premise?
I'm demonstrating.
How about you
right
give
now.
the premise instead?
I'm literally demonstrating.
Sorry, do you take a question to be an argument? How about you just give the premises instead?
I'm literally
if you have an argument,
demonstrating
wait, and I'm
the
sorry, do you take your argument to be logical?
Yeah, sure. But
What
again,
inference? Wait, what inference rule does the argument follow if it's
again-
logical?
So again,
What inference
this is
rule
gonna
does it?
be-
Wait. If it's logical, then it follows an inference
so
rule.
again, I'm
What's
showing
the
you the
inference rule?
inconsistency.
What is the inference rule
I'm
that your
showing
argument
you
follows?
the inconsistency in your position.
Does your argument
you just
follow an
already
inference rule?
admitted, bro. You just already admitted that these percepts are going to be interpreted.
Does your
from a
argument
concept,
have an
correct?
inference rule, or is it illogical?
So how do you interpret?
Is
a
your
percept?
argument logical?
I'm making a demonstration.
Is
You're
your
running from the
argument logical?
demonstration.
Yes or no?
Stop running from the demonstration.
Is your argument logical? Yes or no?
I haven't even given an argument
Is
yet.
it? Oh, Are you giving an argument right now?
Yeah, after you answer the question.
Oh,
So
sure.
how do
Wait,
you-
and what
so how do
inference
you
rule is the argument
interpret-
going to follow?
So how do you interpret a percept?
How do you interpret a percept?
Yeah.
Via the brain? So what inference rule does your argument
the brain.
follow?
So the brain.
He's not going to answer my. Wait. Wait. And I want everyone to take note of that. I answered his question. He will not answer mine.
I'm literally answering right now.
What
You're telling me
inference
how
rule
is
does your argument
you're telling me
follow?
how is your you're telling
What
me how
name
is
an
your
inference
paradigm-
rule that your argument follows?
You're asking me how is your paradigm circular? I'm demonstrating
I'm
it
asking
right now
you what
because
inference
it's
rule it
just going
follows.
to collapse into holism.
What inference
I'm literally
rule does it
giving my
follow?
critique because didn't I say PC collapsed to holism earlier?
What inference rule does it follow?
So if I can demonstrate it, if you can literally just keep answering questions.
I just
as
want the
I
answer to
told
the
you-
question that I've asked you like 10 times. Inference rule,
I
which
just
one
told you I
does it
haven't
follow?
given an argument yet.
Which inference
I'm
rule does
demonstrating-
it follow? Do you have an argument
What?
that is logical? Yes or no?
Yes, I'm going to give the
Sure.
argument.
So what inference
after you
rule
answer
does
the
your
question.
argument follow?
I haven't given the argument yet.
Yeah, how
what are
about you
you
just
talking
give the wait? Let's skip this and just get to the argument.
What do you mean skip it? I'm showing you your worldview is circular.
Wait, I
So
don't
you
want to be
just
shown. I
said-
want to be told what's the
because
argument.
because you're just going to say I'm strawmanning
Let's
you. So
wait.
I
No,
want
no.
you to say
wait,
out of your own
so
mouth.
how could you be strawmanning me if it's you giving the
Oh
argument?
my gosh. I'm literally showing you your worldview circular.
I
So
want you to
just
tell
said-
me by just giving the argument.
I'm about to tell you after you answer.
So, and I
You're
already
gonna say I'm
answered one
strawmanning
question.
you.
Wait, and how many questions is it going to be?
I don't know until you be honest and show.
Accusing
how do
your
you
opponent of
interpret a
lying,
person?
W debate tactic.
So how do you interpret a person?
Whenever
You just
my
said the
opponent
brain.
answers a question in a
You
way I
said
don't
the
like, that
brain.
means they're lying.
You just said the brain.
Yeah.
What do you mean, yeah? I'm not asking about the tool you're using. I'm asking about the interpretation itself. Is it going to be contingent upon some conceptual framework? Yes or no?
Sorry, can you ask that one more time?
So the actual interpretation of the percepts themselves, are they going to be contingent upon a conceptual framework?
No.
So how are you interpreting it?
I've already answered this.
Saying the brain doesn't answer the question, bro.
It does. Your brain
Because
is
you
the thing
just
that
said-
interprets your percepts.
You just said earlier the brain is going to just structure this percept and make conceptual structures. So the
It's a-
conceptual
well, the brain
structures
does
are
lots of things. The
concepts,
brain
right?
takes in percepts, and the brain also structures into concepts.
So when a brain takes a percept, it structures the percepts into these
Yeah, your brain is like a big neural
conceptual
network.
structures,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right. So if it's literally taking the sense data and interpreting it through these conceptual structures, that's holism.
It no way is. What's the argument for that?
First of all, it's circular because you're just saying you interpret this
What's
thing
the
with these concepts, and you said these concepts are going to give you these structures. So you're using a structure to interpret the actual sense data, and you just said this actual sense data is what gives you the
No,
structure.
that's not true. Wait, that's not what I'm saying at all. So the
That is
order of
what you
events,
said.
the order of events specifically, is that you input you get the input of percepts, and then from these percepts, you create concepts in a big structural neural network.
So how do you interpret the first? Like, how does the first event get interpreted? The actual.
How does the
percept
first
itself?
event get interpreted? Via the brain,
Yeah.
via the processes that the brain does.
So is the brain going to make
So
this
the
into
brain gets all these
a conceptual
inputs,
structure?
and then these inputs get structured into concepts.
Yeah, so the concepts themselves is how you're going to now interpret more.
That's not a part of my
percepts,
view.
correct?
That's not a part of my view. No.
So what's the point of the constructs if like?
Well, you're
doesn't make
asking me
any
where
sense?
concepts come from. I explained it to you. So what's the contradiction?
That's circular because you're saying
Where?
these
At what
these
point?
percepts or sense data is going to give you the structures, and now when you interpret sense data from now on, you're just going to rely upon these structures.
Nope. That's the
That's
opposite of what I said. Try listening. I
That's what your
said the
position
exact
leads to.
opposite
Oh,
of
no.
that. Oh no, it's not. That's not my position.
Yeah, it is. Otherwise, it's incoherent. It
That's
doesn't
not
make
my
any
position.
sense.
That's the exact opposite of my position that I just explained. So
That's
no,
not the opposite.
I don't think that your concepts redefine how you see like your percepts. No.
Okay, so really quickly, so you just said the example you gave was when you see the color blue, right?
Yeah, for the first
So when
time.
you
yeah.
see the color blue, you're going to name this concept blue.
You don't need to.
So it doesn't matter if you don't need to. You are naming it by relaying
Not
upon
necessarily,
the
no.
information. But you just named it blue. Is it blue or not?
I mean, there's no reason why you would know that it's blue just by seeing the color for the first time.
So if you don't know it's blue, then how can you even predicate blueness? That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, so you aren't like stating like this color is blue for the first time you see it. You see the color, you form the concept of the color in your mind, and then later you learn the name.
Okay, even if you're learning the name later, now when you see that same concept, now you have a structure to interpret that information that's sense data from, correct?
No, because the percept is just going to happen automatically. There's no, the concept of blueness isn't involved in actually like seeing blue. Like your neural networks for like all the things you associate with blue don't need to be activated when the blue lights or like the blue wavelength is like hitting your eyes. The percept happens first.
It's incoherent.
The percept comes before the concept restructures it.
Yeah, so just because the percept is before, which I get, because like if, for example, if I'm blind or something, I don't really necessarily have a concept of blue. I don't think, I'm not blind, so I can't really say, but I don't think you would. So even if the percept is prior to the conceptualization, now when you see that percept, you're gonna just, the actual interpretation of the percept is just going to be interpreted through the concept from your past experiences.
No, not necessarily.
Percept.
No, because the percept happens. So the percept always happens before.
Just because it happens before doesn't mean when you're now interpreting the percept, you're conflating the two. So I don't care if it's before or after. Now when you literally see that object in the world, external world, when you see the color blue, you now know it's blue because you now have a structure, a conceptual structure of what blue is, and you've named this conceptual structure blue. And now you can predicate blueness to this object in the external world, correct?
No, I've said no like a million times to this. I don't know when
How
you're
is that
start
not
listening.
the case? That's just incoherent.
Yeah, so there's two ways that this isn't the case. Well, what's the argument that it's incoherent?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The
Yeah,
argument is that it's
I'm sorry,
circular
what's
and
the
it's
argument that it doesn't
contradictory.
make any
It's
sense?
contradictory.
Oh, what? And I'm sorry, what's the P and not P?
Yeah, so you're saying it is interpreted with this conceptual structure and it's not at the same time.
So the one that I reject is that it's interpreted with this conceptual structure. That's the one that I've been rejecting for the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so then
So wait, with that in mind,
case,
what's the P and not
so
P?
then it's just not the case that sense data is interpreted then, and you don't have knowledge.
You absolutely do perceive the color blue. What are you talking about?
So if you so the color blue is naming a concept, right?
So the thing that the concept refers to, you see this thing. I don't know why you're trying to contend with whether or not we see blue.
I'm not.
You literally are.
No, I'm not. You're just being a sophist now. I'm not arguing whether or not you see blue. I'm arguing whether or not you're going to impose your concept upon the sense data. You know what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm saying that you don't necessarily need to do that. That there's
just
like
because you don't need to do that doesn't mean you don't do that. It doesn't even make sense for you.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's the proof that you necessarily do that?
Otherwise, you're just not having knowledge of the thing.
Wait, so I'm sorry. What's the argument that you necessarily do that?
So when you're like right now, when you're engaging with me, you just say you don't have to name the concept.
Yeah, true.
But you're naming the concept right now to predicate.
Wait, so wait, how about let's conceptualize like a duck standing on a chair. This is a unique concept. A duck standing on a chair. Can we hold the concept of a duck standing on a chair without like giving it a specific name?
You just gave it a name.
So we can take something completely.
If it doesn't have a name, you can't relay the concepts themselves.
Wait, sure you can. Wait, we can do it like this.
How can you do that?
That's no problem. We can take. Check out this. Look at that. It's unique. It's a unique conceptualization. No name required. Look at that.
It's not unique.
It absolutely is. Wait, I'm sorry. What's the name of it?
It's not.
So unique. you can see this and you can conceptualize this without naming it.
It's a keyboard on the book.
Yeah. So wait, so you can conceptualize these things without assigning a name to it.
That doesn't even make sense because even if you're conceiving of the thing, you don't even know what you're conceiving of if you're not predicating of the thing. Like you just don't have knowledge.
That's just not true. Sense. You can conceptualize a thing without having a name for it.
Just because you don't have a name for it has nothing to do with whether or not you have knowledge.
For example,
is that when you're relaying.
Awesome. Then we agree that you don't need a name for it. Perfect.
When you're
W concession.
So then you can't literally convey the idea of the concept without language. It's impossible.
We're not talking about conveying it. We're talking about being justified in believing in it.
Yeah, but the justification is going to come from the system. So if you need concepts of the system itself and knowledge of the system itself to know what the justification is.
If you were the only person in the world, could you have justification for things?
I mean, I don't know, because it depends what, like...
Would you be justified in believing anything if you're the only person in the world? This is not a hard question.
No, it actually is a loaded question.
It's extraordinarily easy.
I don't think you would have justification, no.
That's ridiculous. You don't think you'd be justified in believing that? Wait, so if you're the only person, left in the world, if you're the only person left in the world, you wouldn't be justified in thinking that the sky is blue? You wouldn't be justified in thinking 1 + 1 = 2?
You're conflating first order knowledge with second order. You can have first order knowledge of the thing, but it doesn't mean you have second order.
So you can have, but that requires justification, correct?
Second order? Yes.
Any knowledge. You agree that any knowledge...
I don't believe first order knowledge requires justification, because first order is just going to be like knowledge of the thing, and then second order is going to be knowledge? You knowing.
So yeah, I'd love to hear your justificationless knowledge. Probably falls in the same category as your married bachelors.
What?
Yeah, define knowledge? Go ahead.
It is going to be like the acquisition of like a truth value of something.
Oh, you don't want to run that one. Just the So let's say that I flip a coin. Heads, this interpretation of quantum mechanics is true. Tails, I believe that a different interpretation is true. Let's say I flip the coin tails, and it turns out that the tails interpretation is true. Would it then suddenly follow that I have knowledge about like what the correct quantum mechanics interpretation is?
What? No, because you're not receiving a truth value. All you're receiving is like...
Sure I am. I'm receiving it from the coin. I'm receiving the truth value from the coin.
The coin... it doesn't give you truth value. I don't know, like... You just
sure
saying
it does.
Heads or tails, this or that, it doesn't...
So it needs to be a justified belief?
The proposition.
So there needs to be like some justification? It needs to be like...
No, you're conflating knowledge of a thing with like saying... something is the case if you flip heads. That was so incoherent. I didn't even
make sense. So wait. Let me get this straight. So in order to have knowledge, you need justification.
No, you just said
it's not enough to like flip a coin and then form beliefs based on that. You need like a justified belief. Is that correct?
So that doesn't get you to knowledge. You flipping a coin doesn't get you to knowledge. I don't
know because there's a component missing. The missing component is justification, perhaps.
How is that the missing thing is that just doesn't provide you with knowledge. I don't.
Yeah. So what would need to be added in order to get to knowledge?
The actual information of the truth value of whatever proposition.
So you get to knowledge by being told that. What does that even mean?
By being told. What are you talking about?
So I'm sorry. You take knowledge to be what?
Yeah, so knowledge is going to be the acquisition of like information and like the truth value of some proposition.
So knowledge is just when you acquire like a true belief in something?
Yeah.
So if the coin leads me to acquiring a true belief because I flip the coin, is that knowledge?
A coin doesn't give you
it does.
Truth data. I don't know what
Sure it does. About. It assigns it helps me acquire a belief, and if that belief is true, then you'd say I know.
You're just saying it helps me acquire. You're just saying sure it does. It helps me do this. That like how does that make any sense?
Yeah, because I assign it a specific value and then I flip the coin. The coin then confers to me the belief.
You're assigning the values, but I don't believe truth is subjective. So if you're assigning the values, that makes the truth value subjective. It's going to be dependent upon you.
Wait, you don't believe in subjective truths?
No. If you're talking about like opinions or something, that's not going to be like propositional. It's going to be an opinion.
What? Is it? Are you of the opinion that rape is bad?
Wait, are you a moral realist?
Yeah, but wait, before you pivot away, are you, because you think propositions are neither true or that opinions aren't true or false, so I'm just wondering, are you of the opinion that rape is bad?
It's not an opinion. I'm a moralist too, so I believe the proposition.
So wait. So you are not of the opinion that rape is bad?
I don't hold that opinion. Matters of fact.
You don't hold that opinion?
So you're being a sophist. So I just told you a matter of opinion. That's like saying, do you hold the opinion the sun's in the sky? That's not an opinion. It's just a matter of fact. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah,
right?
so it's a matter of fact.
It's both.
It's a matter. It can be both. Of fact. It's matter
both.
of fact.
It's both a matter of fact and an opinion.
You're being a sophist right now.
I don't know what you think that word means.
Rape is wrong. Even if I did hold to like the contradictory stance that rape wasn't bad, I would be wrong, because it is a moral fact and it is a proposition that rape is bad.
Yeah, so even if your opinion, I agree with you.
Matter.
I agree with it's both. It's both a fact and an opinion. It's both.
I don't believe opinions necessarily hold like truth value. It's like a category error. I don't believe they're in the same category.
So
I mean,
I guess what do you take
but I'm not really interested.
What do you take an opinion to be?
There's going to be some preference.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, I guess. So I'd love to run the transcendental argument for the non-existence of God on you. So premise
it doesn't
one
work because you haven't given me
premise
the preconditions for knowledge.
Well, and you haven't given the preconditions for argumentation.
Yeah, knowledge. So knowledge would be a precondition.
No, wait. So the precondition is the existence of sets.
Can you argue without knowledge?
Can you argue without knowledge? Sure. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
So how do you argue if you don't know anything?
Yeah. So let's say that we have two people. Both of these people hold a wrong belief in something.
Arguing? Because
wait, I'm so sorry. Can I just give the example? I'm so sorry. Can I just give the example of two people without knowledge who are arguing? You can have a belief that is in fact false, and you can argue with somebody else who has a belief that is in fact false. Neither of these people have knowledge, and yet they're engaging in argumentation.
Should you take knowledge just to be like JTB or something?
Probably a bit more sophisticated than that, but I don't know. We can get into it if you really want.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I have the time, really. I want to, but I don't know if I have the time.
Yeah, so I'll just give you the argument. So premise one, if arguments exist, then God does not exist. Premise two, arguments exist. Conclusion, God does not exist.
Oh, you're talking about getting into that. No, I still haven't granted you knowledge.
So, but which premise do you reject?
And the preconditions for knowledge you gave me.
So, which is that premise one or two?
I already reduced your epistemology to circularity.
Is that premise one or two?
You already admitted earlier you don't interpret sense data, so you don't have knowledge.
Wait, is that premise one or two? The question again is, do you reject premise one or premise two?
I reject you have knowledge to even make
so the question again is, do you have premise one or premise two?
I deny that you even know what a premise is.
So, and the question again is just, do you reject premise one or premise two?
Yeah, you're trying to run this argument, but I have to grant you knowledge. I don't grant you knowledge.
So, and the question again is just, do you reject premise one or premise two?
Yeah, to say the question is a knowledge claim, I don't grant you knowledge.
The question again is just, do you reject premise one or premise two?
Yeah, to say the question is the question again implies that you already know you provided the question before.
The question again, do you reject premise one or premise two?
I don't grant you knowledge. So until you can provide with me the necessary preconditions.
So the premise again, or the question again, do you reject premise one or premise two?
That's the question.
Do you reject premise one or premise two?
Is that a knowledge claim that's the question?
No, so questions aren't claims, they're questions.
Yeah, but do you know that's the question?
A question isn't propositional. It's a question. A question isn't making like a declarative statement about reality.
You just said the question.
It's a question.
The question is,
do you reject premise one or premise two?
That is a proposition. To say the question is this, or X is X, or X
the
is
specific
Y,
usage of this is just a lead into it, but it's not propositional. Questions aren't propositions.
To say that this is the use presupposes knowledge. I don't grant you knowledge.
Oh, and I'm sorry. So sure, because you've. Oh, I don't grant you argumentation, so you're not granting me anything is irrelevant because you can't argue for the position.
How do you know it's irrelevant? That's a knowledge claim.
Yeah, because you attempting to make an argument already presupposes the non-existence of God.
Yeah, but that's another knowledge claim.
Yeah, and that's another argument which presupposes the non-existence of God.
Yeah, but you just said that's another argument. That's a knowledge claim.
And that's another argument,
granted
which
you
of
have-
course presupposes the non-existence of God. So you're presupposing the non-existence of God.
Yeah, but you're presupposing language. You're presupposing existence, time. You're presupposing.
Yeah, and this is another argument which presupposes the
which-
non-existence of God. All of these
which you
things
cannot
disprove
actually
God.
affirm. So to say disproves God presupposes you have knowledge of what the concept of
Yeah,
God
what you're
is.
doing right now is
I don't
argumentation,
grant
which
you
presupposes arguments which disprove God.
Yeah, so to say that argumentation presupposes all the things you just said is a knowledge claim, I don't grant you knowledge.
Yeah, and you're making another argument, but of course, arguments presuppose the non-existence of God, and so your position is
Yeah,
self-defeating.
to know that presupposes that requires knowledge. Again, I'm not granting. You
Yeah, and you're
knowledge. I already
making
reduced
an
your
argument.
epistemology to circularity.
Wait, so it seems
nonsensical.
like the transcendental argument doesn't actually prove anything. It doesn't go anywhere. It seems like we're
Say it
caught in like an
doesn't prove
infinite regress
anything.
on the transcendental argument. Therefore, we can't
say
conclude
that it's
that
an
God
infinite
exists
regress.
based on the transcendental argument.
That requires knowledge of what an infinite.
And this is another argument which
grant you
presupposes the
knowledge.
non-existence of God.
Yeah, but I haven't granted you knowledge. You
But
haven't
you've
provided
already
me
presupposed the
a
non-existence of God by
sufficient
engaging in argumentation.
thought. Yeah, to say I'm engaging in argumentation.
Yeah,
presupposes
so you've
knowledge.
already
I don't grant you
presupposed the existence of argumentation, which presupposes the non-existence of God.
You're just making knowledge claims.
You're making arguments, which presupposes that God doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's a knowledge claim.
Yeah, you're making an argument, yeah.
Yeah, I don't grant you knowledge.
And I don't grant your argumentation.
That's fine. I can provide justification from argumentation.
Oh, sure, so what premise do you reject?
Yeah, I just don't grant you knowledge as you even have knowledge of.
So is that premise
premises.
1 or premise 2?
I don't even grant you knowledge of numbers to even order like different sets of premises.
Sir, how do you ground... Is God the cause of numbers?
The existence of numbers, yeah.
Oh, wait, so before God caused numbers to exist, how many gods were there?
What do you mean, how many?
Yeah, how many gods were there, like numerically, before God made numbers?
Yeah, so this isn't gonna even. This
How
is
many-
a nonsense question, but I'll answer. There's still
just
one
wanna-
God eternally.
Oh,
but
so
just
before
because-
one existed, there was one
Yes.
God.